Welcome everyone to the Ram Bowl. Should have a good one tonight. We've got the Riverview Rams who will be receiving wearing the dark uniforms, and Southeast will be kicking off. You look right there at Daniel Boyd, the fine kicker for Southeast. Southeast comes into the game 3-1, and the Riverview Rams are 1-3, but a perfect 4-0 actually on the field. We'll get to more of that later. As Boyd kicks it off, we're underway from the Ram Bowl in Sarasota. A rolling kick fielded at the 15-yard line across the 20. That's Anthony Campbell. A great return man. It takes a good pop right up at about the 40-yard line. We saw him last season do a lot of good things. Our first time we've seen Sarasota Riverview. They'll take over 1st and 10. And Charlie, we got to mention, Sarasota Riverview this week was still ranked #1 in Class 5A in the state of Florida, but they've had to forfeit 3 games this year due to using ineligible players, so technically they're 1-3. A little more about that. We won't see Shawn Bane tonight either, as well, the great running back. Going straight ahead, number 24, that's Marcel Caston for a couple of yards. It'll bring up about 2nd down and 8 for Riverview.
Well, Jim, what Riverview has to do right now is they got to worry about winning their district. They could conceivably be, with one more of these forfeits, they could be the #1 team in the state that can't go to the playoffs. That would be very unfortunate for a great team like this. They need to watch those forfeits and get their act together here.
Tim Alexander's your quarterback. He's a veteran. A lot of familiar names here. And there's that big fullback we've heard so much about for the Rams, crossing the 50, getting the 1st down. That's big Bubba Mays, and he's a load, Charlie. 5'10", 286 pounds, and he's an armful.
Well, he's bigger than Larry Zonka, if you will, that used to play for the Dolphins. If you watch this big guy run, they're going to rely on him every time tonight. They got maybe 3rd and short yardage, 2nd and short yardage. They're going to give it to Big Bubba, and he's big enough to bust right up through that line. He'll knock your secondary down and really just gets an awful lot of yards. Just a big fullback. In fact, he's the biggest I've ever seen in high school football.
Absolutely. 1st and 10 at the 47 of Southeast. And here again, Bubba Mays gets about 2 or 3. Rich Robich, number 33, takes a shot at him. And, of course, we had Southeast on our game of the week last week, and they were all over Bayshore. Absolutely punished them 55-0. And the fine defense at Southeast, it's a tradition. But they'll be tested tonight with Bubba Mays and some of the other backs coming out of that backfield for Riverview.
They're definitely not playing Bayshore tonight. They got a great team on their hands here, a great offense, and an absolutely fabulous offensive line from Riverview.
2nd down, 7. And straight ahead, that's the other running back there, Caston, 5'10".
Okay, we got 3rd down.
He's a senior.
We're going to play 3 now.
And that'll bring up 3rd down. We'll call it about 4 for Sarasota Riverview. And Charlie, I'm a little disappointed. They've had some discipline problems here at Riverview with Shawn Bane, who last year as a sophomore, we look at Coach John Sprague down there for Riverview, now he's covered up, was the best running back I've ever seen on a high school level, but he's missed some classes. I understand he was practicing again this week, but skipped a couple classes on Thursday, and I don't know if we'll see him the rest of the year for Riverview. There's Tim Alexander, the quarterback. Robich gets out there and tackles him on the option play. Looks like he's just shy of a 1st down. It'll bring up 4th down and about 1 for Riverview.
Well, 2 things about tonight's game, Jim. Number 1, Riverview is going to be a different team without Shawn Bane. He's probably the best football player, best running back in the state of Florida today, and he's not in this game. So without him, Riverview cannot be as good as they would with having him here. Also, Riverview may very well be seeing the best defense that they've seen all year long in Southeast. So if Southeast plays that same sort of intense defense that they're known for, they'll give Riverview a run for their money tonight because they'll keep them from running that score up so high.
And you see it right there, short by about a foot. And right away, Coach John Sprague for Riverview, is he going to gamble? 4th down and a foot inside the Southeast 40. I don't think there's much doubt. We'll see the Rams go for it. Of course, Paul Meckley, the fine coach over at Southeast, they've won 7 straight district titles, Class 4A District 11. Looking for number 8 this year. Southeast 3-1 with that one upset loss to county rival Palmetto. Made up for it last week, though, thumping Bayshore 55-0. And this is obviously their sternest test of the season so far against Riverview on 4th and a foot. It's Big Bubba Mays. And he's pretty handy back there, Charlie, on 4th and a foot. That guy's a load.
Big Bubba is going to get you that foot. He's going to get you that yard, I think. He's unbelievable. What a big guy he is. And they give him the ball. He just runs off tackle and crowds in there for the additional yardage that they need. Jim, we were talking about Riverview's offensive line. This is a big offensive line. We were talking about about them more as the night goes on, but they can really block well, and they spring those backs. Your linebackers will be making a lot of tackles tonight for Southeast.
Thomas made that last stop. A little misdirection to Keston. Once again, Robich already with his third tackle of the night. Keston gets a couple. Short gain on the play. It'll bring up about 2nd down and 8. We have no score. We're just underway in the first quarter. Riverview with their first possession of the game. After the fine kickoff return by Campbell, brought it out to the 41-yard line, gave him good field position. A couple first downs later, and now it's 2nd down 8. As you look at John Sprague, he's had a tough season so far with a great football team. 4 wins on the field, has had to forfeit 3 games. Here comes Bubba Mays inside the 30, pounding away inside the tackle. Down there on the bottom of that pile, Rich Frost, the other fine linebacker, one of the fine linebackers for Southeast. It'll bring up 3rd down about 3.
With Shawn Bane not in the game, what you're going to see, I believe, is Bubba carrying this ball just as long as they can successfully run with him, which I believe will probably be all night. He's so huge that it takes gang tackling to stop him. So look for him to carry the ball probably a lot more than usual in tonight's game.
Alexander brings him up, number 10. He's also a threat to run. And now we got flags all over the place.
Jim, the referee's wearing a black armband in memory of the referee that died last week.
And let's check out the penalty.
Get set out there, people!
It'll go against Riverview, so 3rd down and 3.
Ball start, offense.
As you hear our referee give you the call there at home. I'm Jim Brockman along with Charlie Wells. Thank you for joining us here on Paragon Cable, Channel 22, our game of the week. Southeast and Riverview, a great matchup. Of course, Southeast a power ranked number 9 in Class 4A. Riverview ranked number 1. But that may change with these forfeit losses. Alexander with some good ball handling. Throws the pass, Bubba Mays juggles it, but makes a good catch. Down to the 23, and Charlie, that's a little scary. A guy 286 pounds that can catch the ball too.
And he holds his hands up and says, you know, what's the big deal here? Big Bubba juggles it a couple times and hauls it in. 285-pound receiver now. I don't know if that's his first catch on the year or not, but here he goes again. Watch Alexander roll to his left, and then he picks up and throws that ball to Big Bubba May. He juggles it around a little bit, hauls it in, and he's got him a 1st down for Riverview.
Jerry Nelson and Charlie Brown make the stop. Great block in the backfield there by Caston to give Alexander time to throw. Here's Alexander keeping it. He doesn't pitch it. He'll get inside the 15. He's close to another 1st down. Once again, Jerry Nelson has to make the stop. And I'll tell you, Charlie, with the troubles Riverview has had, still a powerful football team. Of course, the loss of Shawn Bane, it's hard to replace what's arguably the best running back in the state. But also, we should mention that those forfeit wins were with marginal players that just lived outside the district. Coach Sprague has not named anyone, but evidently those players were guys who maybe played some special teams and weren't main cogs. They just had moved out of the school system, and it's cost, we got a flag down here, and it's cost Riverview 3 victories this year. So it's been kind of a hard luck year, and yet you see the kind of offense they still have. Procedures to call.
Ball start.
Well, Jim, I think that Riverview owes its great success not only to some good running backs, and this is one of those great years for them where they kind of put it together. You got good running backs, you got good blocking up front, and you got a great quarterback in Alexander. So this is the reason they're having such a good year. They got a big, solid, good blocking, well-coached offensive line, and these guys spring you free all night long.
2nd down and 6 after the penalty. Alexander's going to run it again, and he's going to have a 1st down. I believe he's inside the 10-yard line. See where they mark it. They're going to mark it right at the 10, and you see Alexander, a great runner. You got Bubba Mays back there, Shawn Bane. That would be a frightening offense.
Well, Alexander is, right now what he's doing is he's keeping that Southeast defense from punishing you. You see he rolls out on the keeper and then just turns it back upfield over about the seam. This could be a nightmare for Southeast if Alexander stays hot and is able to run the ball.
Big Jody Smith, 6'4", 292 pounds for Southeast, chased him down from behind. On 1st down, Alexander's going to try it again. He gets a great block, and untouched. Alexander for 10 yards. And Charlie, we stressed that Southeast defense is a good one, but Riverview cutting right through to take that 6-0 lead.
Well, Southeast is a punishing sort of defense. They got Robich and Frost and those guys that come in on you, Hitchton and Timmons and all those guys. But you see Alexander here fakes the handoff, rolls around to the left side, goes in pretty much untouched. Obviously you can't punish running backs when you can't get your hands on them.
Chris Hackett and attempting the kick, but a bad snap and nothing doing there. The holder on that play, the alleged holder was Derek Timmons. So it'll be 6-0 with 6:38 to go in our first quarter. And I'll tell you, Charlie, with all the troubles that Riverview has had, and if people haven't seen Shawn Bane, they don't know what we're talking about, what a fine runner he was as a sophomore last year. We gave Manatee all kinds of trouble, and Manatee's 2 losses to Riverview last year. But to still have this kind of, I think for John Sprague, the thing is with the team, all of a sudden now you're 1-3 instead of 4-0 to get these kids up to play, but he's done it.
Well, he's done a great job in spite of what he's been through. Now, one thing I think you saw in those last few carries down there, and I believe you'll see more and more of that tonight, is that Sprague goes to Alexander, and the reason for that, I do believe, is because Bubba Mays weighing 286 pounds. You're going to tire him out if you give him that ball on every carry. This Alexander is perfectly capable of carrying the ball. That's good offensive calling. They mix the plays up. But yes, you're right. They're sky high to be a team that's been faced with all the adversities that Riverview has been faced with in the past several weeks.
Hackett to kick it off for Riverview, who now owns a 6-0 lead. Good-looking kick. This will be Southeast's first possession, and it's Anthony Rawls, the starting tailback, busting up across the 20. He breaks loose. It looks like they had him stopped, but Rawls had other ideas, and Hackett makes a touchdown-saving tackle. And Charlie, we mentioned how fired up Riverview was. I think it's safe to say that those Seminoles are fired up as well. The crowd across the way, a good crowd, made the short trip from Bradenton. And Rawls looked like he was stopped at about the 23, but brought it up to midfield.
Well, this Southeast special teams, they're not chopped liver. I mean, they can make things happen too. Anthony Rawls, who plays in the tailback position on offense, he got that ball and he brought it up good. And he's got Southeast in great field position, and I think maybe that might be really the strong point tonight. That may be the very thing that wins this ball game for somebody, is the kind of field position that they maintain. If this big Riverview team, if they play down in your territory all night long, they're going to beat the stew out of you. But if Southeast can somehow keep the ball down here, at least maybe score on a drive, but at least keep Riverview in their own territory, it's going to be a lot more pleasant for them all night long.
So you see where Rawls will take over. There's John Sprague on camera. I agree with Coach Sprague. Earlier in the week, he talked about Southeast team and how Southeast, as the players come and go under Coach Paul Meckley, just have the same kind of temperament, the same kind of fine defense, all kinds of team speed. And he describes Southeast as fast, and faster. And it's a typical Southeast Seminole team. They can run the football and play the good defense. Great matchup tonight. 1st and 10 at the 50. John Reeves is your quarterback. He can throw it, and that's what he's going to do on first down. A little screen pass, and that's Rawls, who gets back to the line of scrimmage. He's tripped up there by T.J. Nutter, the veteran linebacker. So the screen was set up fairly well, but Nutter makes the stop. It'll bring up 2nd down 10.
Well, Anthony Rawls just kind of sat back there in a safety valve, and John Reeves made a deep drop. I mean, he really dropped back, and he was pursued by some defenders from Riverview, and really Rawls, it looked like he was going to be able to break it, but he was lucky in the end just to get it back to the line of scrimmage.
So Southeast facing 2nd down and 10. Just under 6 minutes to go in our first quarter. Thank you for joining us here on Paragon Cable. I'm Jim Brockman along with Charlie Wells. Riverview on top, 6-0. In motion for Southeast, that's Talmadge Curry. And keeping the ball is John Reeves. He's got big yardage. He's inside the 30, the 25, about down to about the 26-yard line. Make that the 21. So a good-looking 29-yard gain for John Reeves, and the Seminoles knocking on the door to tie this thing up.
Well, if we're lucky, we got that one on replay, because John Reeves just did a fabulous job in breaking this. He kept it and faked the handoff and ran that ball down for a good 29-yard gain. Just great running by John Reeves.
And I'll say, excuse me, Charlie, something else that helped out that they went for that inside fake to Andrew Jackson, and it kind of froze that defensive end and enabled Reeves to get outside. 1st and 10, Southeast. And that time they go to the inside man, Andrew Jackson, and he breaks one tackle and falls forward for about 4 or 5. He's inside the 20. Making a stop down there is Dan Pappas, number 44. He also had some help down there around the ankles was Jack Owsley, big number 77. Got some big kids playing this game today. Owsley 6'2", 274. In a high school football game, we got a lot of guys topping that 250 mark for Southeast as well as Riverview.
Well, I'm looking on Southeast offensive line, and I see Omar Edwards in there, and he started tonight, and they didn't expect him to. He injured himself in practice last week. They didn't think he'd be playing tonight. That's a real plus for Southeast.
He's a good one, been around for a long time. And there's Jackson inside the 4. He has to work hard for a couple. Hitting him down low is Brian Gillen, number 54, a 213-pound senior linebacker. And basically, Charlie, people at home, they can judge for themselves, but this is what high school football is supposed to be. We got a lot of talent out here tonight. Both teams are well coached and fired up to play. As you look at Paul Meckley across the way, he's looking for his 8th straight district title. Of course, this is a non-district game for both teams, but an important game for both teams. Southeast to prove that they're the team they think they are, and for Riverview to get their heads back together after all the forfeit losses. Inside for Jackson. Oh no, Reeves hung on to it. I think Owsley hit Jackson, and Reeves decided to hang on to it. He falls forward. See where they mark it.
Unfortunate mix-up on plays that time. I think Reeves was supposed to hand that ball off, and Jackson almost grabbed it away from him. But in any event, they didn't pick up the first down. Now they have fourth and long. The difference in these teams, too, is Riverview, a great big power team that comes at you with an awful lot of talent, big running backs, big offensive line. Southeast kind of finesses you to death. They take you a few yards at the time, and they try to sneak up on you. Now they're going to try for a field goal here to at least get points on the board in this drive.
Setting up for the field goal is Boyd. The holder down there is Kevin Covington, and he had kind of a rough week, Charlie. He got knocked unconscious earlier in the week.
Delay game on the offense.
Now Southeast, it'll back it up 5 yards. 4th down and 3 becomes 4th and 8. That make it a longer attempt for Boyd. And as we mentioned, Covington, number 5, was knocked unconscious during practice, but he's okay. He ran a punt back for a touchdown last week.
Yeah, he was doubtful starter as well tonight, and you see him there holding.
It'll be a 37-yard attempt with the 10 yards in the end zone. Boyd gets it up. Will it be long enough? It's just wide. It was long enough, but Boyd misses wide left. So Southeast misses their first scoring opportunity, and Riverview holds Southeast on that first offensive series, and they'll take over 1st and 10. We've got 3:03 remaining in our first quarter. You see a good crowd here at the Ram Bowl. That's our press box side of the field, the Riverview Rams side of the field.
Well, on a missed field goal in high school football, the ball's brought back to the 20-yard line, so you really have nothing to lose here by making the long attempt. But he was just wide left on that kick, and that's unfortunate for Southeast because it was a good-looking drive until it stalled on that 4th and 3, 4th and 4, where Reeves got a little mixed up on the handoff to Andrew Jackson.
So now taking it over at the 20 will be the Rams. They lead 6-0. And taking it out, it's Alexander. He gets a block, but penetrating in there behind. Some good play. Let's see, Rich Frost. And I'll tell you, Charlie, we talk about these guys a lot, and we don't mean to ignore the rest of the players, but Robich and Frost, just 2 great active linebackers. These guys love the game. They love playing the game. They like popping people. And I'll tell you what, they really are the heart and soul of the Southeast defense.
Well, Coach Taylor brought me a message last week out at Bray Park and said Frost told us to quit talking about him so much.
Well, then he's got to quit making all the tackles because we got to say his name.
We'll talk about him as long as we want.
Straight ahead. That's Caston. He's up near about the 25-yard line. And it'll bring up 3rd down. And Caston gets up and he's limping. He's trying to shake it off as Charlie Brown, number 6, makes the stop. And that'll bring up 3rd down. We'll call it 5. Our scoreboard here across the way is showing us the time and score, but the yardage is out, so we'll keep track of that for you up here in the booth. Less than 2 minutes to go in our first quarter. Riverview on top 6-0. Alexander and tries to throw. That might be considered a fumble. He was in a throwing motion.
I believe Riverview recovered it. It was a fumble.
It was called a fumble. Robich knocked it out of. Alexander was trying to cock it to throw it, and Robich popped him. The ball popped loose, but Riverview recovers, and that would have been a fumble and would have been a huge break for Southeast had they recovered it.
I think it's a good thing for Riverview that the Southeast defense got in there that time and tackled him because he was trying to go deep to Robert Brown. If you'll watch right here, you see they get in there and I don't know, that was pretty close. Could have been a forward pass, but he was trying to go to Robert Brown, and Robert Brown was covered very well.
Hackett kicks it off. We should get McMillan was also back there on that play. Dropping the punt are the Seminoles, but they recover it at midfield, and now we've got a flag. And that was living dangerously. That was Brown up there, along with Leslie Dennis. And Dennis ran a punt back last week against Bayshore for a touchdown. Bobbled that one, but got back on it in Southeast. We'll have pretty darn good field position right at midfield. Let's see what the flag's all about.
That may be a late piling on. I noticed the Southeast player recovered that fumble, and then there were a lot of Riverview players that piled in there on him, so we'll see if that's what the call is.
We'll listen to our official. And unsportsmanlike
here we go. Come on up here,
conduct
Captain.
against Southeast. So it looks like we got a couple of penalties. We're going to have to sort this one out. Right now the ball sits on the 50-yard line, and it's Southeast ball, but we'll see where it ends up with the double penalty.
There must have been a flag back where they kicked, because he called illegal procedure.
Right.
I know darn well they couldn't have any illegal procedure down here, so there must have been another flag.
Procedure penalty against Riverview. Declined. We have personal foul penalty against Southeast. We'll mark it off from the end of the run, right here. That way. That way.
The officials, I think they're trying to take it the wrong way. Paul Meckley would think that was fine, but that guy on your screen, John Sprague, wouldn't go for that.
They're a little confused on which way.
If they're calling it unsportsmanlike on Southeast, I don't think you should look up at 15 on Riverview.
I swear I believe the unsportsmanlike is on Riverview, because
You would
they
think maybe
piled on.
he misspoke. Yeah, it did look like that was the situation. And they're discussing that right now. I'll tell you what, it'll be a 30-yard swing either way, Charlie. If it goes back against Southeast, they'll be at their own 35. Against Riverview, they'll be at their 35.
Procedure against Riverview declined. Personal foul against Riverview accepted. 15 yards, first down.
It took them a while, but the officials got it sorted out. So the good field position for Southeast now becomes great. They're at the Riverview 35-yard line, making it a net punt of only about 15 yards. So Southeast with a golden opportunity here to try and tie this up as we approach the 1-minute mark in our first quarter.
Well, they have excellent field position. Now another flag flies already.
Now what do we have here?
He's the first official in this county.
Officials are going to talk it over again. And John Reeves likes the call, so that must be...
Ball, unsportsmanlike.
Whoa, 2 in a row.
Riverview bench.
Riverview bench.
15 yards.
So either Coach Sprague or one of the players had a comment or two. So now, how about this? Southeast will have the ball at Riverview's 20-yard line, 30 yards in unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and that's not how you get your 1-3 team back on track after giving up those forfeit wins for Riverview. 30 yards in penalties.
I saw one of the assistant coaches down here telling Coach Sprague to stop it now, stop it, and so maybe that one was called on him.
So Reeves with the pass, he's got a man open, and close to a first down, making the catch, number 9, Talmadge Curry. Ducked under one defender, he's close to another first down, so one complete pass, and Southeast already just outside the 10-yard line of Riverview, in great position to tie this thing up.
Well, this John Reeves is really a calm quarterback. Even earlier in the other series, when you saw him being pursued by the defense, and you see him just right there, he just takes his time and punks that thing right in there. He does a good job. He's got a good arm, good strong arm for John Reeves.
Robert Brown made the stop, number 5. So 2nd down and 1 now for Southeast, just outside the 10-yard line of Riverview. Reeves looking sharp at quarterback. And straight ahead, Andrew Jackson, he has that first down. He's down to the 6, following big Omar Edwards down there. Excuse me, DeAndre Anderson, number 70. And a gain of about 4, and Jackson getting up slowly. He's taking a look at that right. He's starting to untie that shoe. Might need to replace him, at least for the play. It'll be 1st and goal from the 6.
Well, timing's everything on that last play, and of course, big DeAndre Anderson, he just kind of pushes the defense out of there, and Andrew Jackson, who's a big-looking kid and a strong runner, he runs that thing in there for the first down.
And there, now we do have our scoreboard. The yardage is working again at 1st down and 6, and that'll be the end of our first quarter. Riverview 6, Southeast nothing. Don't go away. We got a great high school football game for you tonight. 6-0 Riverview, but Southeast knocking on the door. 1st and goal at the Ram 6. We're here in Sarasota, Florida at the Ram Bowl on a hot and muggy night. I'm Jim Brockman along with Charlie Wells. Thank you for joining us on Channel 22, Paragon Cable. Southeast looking to tie this up, but 1st and goal. John Reeves is the quarterback. Number 12, the lanky junior. And he's going to keep it. And he breaks one tackle and will score. Oh, wait a second. It looks like, and Reeves now coming up limping a little bit.
Looked like the play was called dead.
It looked like it maybe before it started, because Reeves looked like he had 6. And that would be tough for Southeast if the play comes back, plus Reeves getting nicked up a little bit.
Inadvertent whistle, first down. Inadvertent whistle, first down.
Inadvertent whistle, it cost Southeast 6.
Boy, that's
and look at John Reeves. You can't blame him for being upset. The guy comes up lame on the play, gets 6. And somebody, frankly, the officials were honest about it as you look at Paul Meckley. And he's not happy about it either.
Yeah.
You can't blame anyone across there. It's just one of those things that happens. The officials owned up to it, an inadvertent whistle, and that cost the Seminoles.
What you got to do? They need to get in the huddle here and come up with a play and just, instead of running it right, run that same play back left, and Reeves will score again.
So Southeast, a victim there. Got to overcome that, and here we go ahead, straight ahead. And fighting in there, getting some good yardage. Let's, that was running the ball. How about Robich? I believe that was Robich running the football, Charlie. I'm not used to seeing him on offense. Yeah. Let's take a look here.
Yeah, Rich Robich takes this back from the fullback position, I believe.
He sure does.
Actually, he's in tailback, I guess, and he brings the ball up and just keeps pushing. He's a strong kid. Runs it all the way down to about the 2-yard line, Jim.
Well, especially now Frost and Robich are going to be upset with us for using their names. They can't be playing offense.
They're going to have to quit
We're
playing all the positions.
We're going to have to talk about them all. They got to quit touching the ball all the time. And there's Robich again, struggling. And a good hit there by number 27. Roy Trell Watson popped in first, then he got help inside from Jack Owsley. So now 3rd down and goal for the Seminoles. That's the first time in a couple years I've seen Robich carry the football.
Well, you know, now they've been trying all night. Riverview has been running the ball to the outside, and that's where they've been most successful. Now, the last couple of plays, they've gone right at the gut of the Riverview defense, and, of course, after that heartbreaking callback on Reeves' touchdown, it looks like to me that on this, they got 2 cracks at it down here. I think probably you'll see them go on 3rd and 4th down here, but I think they ought to go back to Reeves again and let him pull that keeper either right or left. He's a fast kid. He's quick. Let him get outside, and that's where he's at his strongest.
So Southeast faced with 3rd down and goal, and keep in mind that inadvertent whistle on 1st and goal. Reeves had scored on a 6-yard run, but the official had inadvertently blown his whistle, frankly just didn't mean to, and it stopped the play. He said it's kind of a do-over type thing, like out in the backyard years ago. Do it over, and now Southeast with a couple of running plays with Robich, generally a linebacker, carrying the football. He's gotten it down to, let's see, we'll call it the 2-yard line, but 3rd and goal for Southeast. Very important if they punch it in here. Won't get a lot of opportunities against the Riverview Rams.
They got Luther McFarland in at tight end, and
there straight ahead, that's Andrew Jackson, and he got bounced back the other way and making the pop down there. A couple of Rams, T.J. Nutter and Riley Stevens lowered the helmet, so now
he's right on the goal line, though, Jim. That was a good call, and he's right down there. You see, you watch Andrew Jackson just carry the ball, even though he's backed up by that strong defensive line of Riverview. This ball is resting. It's almost touching the goal line, so they got a chance to score here.
Okay, so it's 4th down and goal from the 1. Do or die time for the Seminoles. With 10:28 to go in our 2nd quarter, they trail 6-0. As you look at the southeast side of the field, there's nobody sitting down. And straight ahead is Robich. Look out, he won't get in. He will not get in, and you see coming out of there, number 4, John Haskins, was part of that play.
We got flags on this play.
And wait a second, we got a flag. Let's see what it's all about. If it's against Riverview, it's good news for Southeast. If it's not, I'm sure the Rams will decline it and take possession.
Unsportsmanlike on a red team. Bobby?
Well, said it was a dead ball foul, so it looks like Southeast will still have to give up possession. Let's wait till they sort it out. He called it a dead ball foul. One way or the other, it's the 3rd unsportsmanlike conduct against Riverview.
Yeah, and it's half the distance to the goal, and that doesn't mean very much right there where the ball was resting anyway. So Riverview is going to get the ball in terrible field position, but it's unfortunate for Southeast that they couldn't stick that thing in the end zone, because it was a nice drive for them. They brought the ball down real well and come within inches, and they did have the touchdown by Reeves called back by an inadvertent whistle. So just tough luck for Southeast on that drive.
A great example of tough luck, some mighty tough luck. So 6-0, instead of having this thing tied up or maybe ahead if Boyd makes the extra point. So Southeast, after the inadvertent whistle, coughs it up on downs. Robich tried 3 times, and Jackson once. They couldn't get in. Now Alexander in the shadow of his own goal line. He'll go straight ahead for maybe a yard or 2 in the handoff.
Jim, we just got a note handed up here to us that said the inadvertent whistle was the whistle that was blown by someone underneath the stands that the official mistook for an official's whistle.
I'll be darned. Well, it wasn't even the official's fault.
Wasn't the official's fault.
That's wild. Someone under the stands with a whistle. Find that guy and get him out of here. So the official just, it was an honest mistake. You hear the whistle, you think the play's been blown dead, but we thank folks for bringing us that news. Lewis Chisholm carried on that last play. And Alexander's going to throw from his own 3, and he's going deep. He's got a man down there, and it's caught. That Anthony Campbell, this guy has been impressive as a return man and a defensive back, as a wide receiver, number 3. And that's the kind of guy, Charlie, I don't know what kind of grades he's getting, but this guy can play major college ball. We also have a flag down on the play.
Well, Anthony Campbell, we watched him last year on returns, on special teams. He's really something else. He just, on punt returns and kickoffs, he is really special. And, of course, Southeast gets a pass interference call on him here that I'm sure Riverview will decline. But that ball was kind of thrown up for grabs, and Campbell just runs back under it. He's a talented kid.
And I'll tell you what, Charlie, that Anthony Campbell's a name they know up in Manatee County. He gave Manatee all kinds of fits last year. And there we have our pass interference call.
On the defense.
And I'll tell you, the Riverview, of course, remembers the Southeast team. Now, the only loss Riverview suffered in the regular season. Let's take a look before we get back to that on this pass.
Well, you see Alexander just throws it up for grabs. I mean, he really pitches it up there. And as you see Campbell, he's got a reading on the ball all the time. He runs back underneath it, and at the same time, he's being pushed by Covington from Southeast.
And of course, they'll decline the penalty. 1st and 10 at the 34. And late pitch out there. The ball's on the ground. It's still sputtering around. And Southeast comes up with it. That's number 25 for the Seminoles, Daryl McMillan. So the Seminoles create their own break there as Alexander. Maybe an ill-advised pitch. He pitched it kind of late. Chisholm unable to hang on to the football. Southeast with a big turnover.
Well, you got to say that Southeast deserved the break after the bad luck they have. Watch Alexander. He takes the ball. He fakes the handoff to the big fullback, Bubba May. Then he runs left and tosses it out to Chisholm, the tailback. Chisholm fumbles, and a couple of Southeast players over there. Brent McMillan, I believe, comes up. Who came up with the fumble?
McMillan, Charlie. That's right. McMillan, number 25. And here comes Jackson. He breaks the tackle at the line of scrimmage, but then he's wrapped up by number 44, Dan Pappas, on the play. It'll be 2nd down and about 10. And I was mentioning, Charlie, that Southeast was the only team to beat Riverview in the regular season last year. That was the best game I think we had competitive-wise, and just a good old-fashioned football game back up in Bradenton.
Yeah,
or Southeast winning in overtime.
Yeah, Kiker Stadium, 21-20. We did that game, Jim.
Great
and that's
game.
one I think I enjoyed that game more than any I've ever watched. It was just an absolute fabulous game. Hasn't maybe double overtime, was it?
I think it might have
overtime.
been. Yeah. Great football game. And that was the only loss that Riverview suffered during the regular season last year. 2nd down 10, Southeast. Covington in motion. Reeves with a pitch. And Anthony Rawls runs into his own blocker. And then Philip Baker, number 90, makes good use of it and drags Rawls down for a loss of about a yard. So the Seminoles finding the going tough against this Ram defense. 3rd and 11. Make it 3rd and 12.
The Seminoles were doing real good on their offensive drives when they would string the Riverview defense out. But you got to get this defense spread out. You cannot run right into the heart of it because they'll hurt you real bad. So when Reeves runs the ball left or right and then pitches off, their offense seems to gel a whole lot better.
And the officials have called for a timeout now on 3rd down. 3rd down and 12. And Baker comes off the field. You got to wonder if maybe he's not hurt or needs a. Oh, it looks like they're going for the shoulder pads. Might have blown out his shoulder pads. He's being replaced down there by Chuck Lowitz, number 94.
Well, he's 226 pounds. He don't need any shoulder pads. Get back in there.
Hardly seems fair. 3rd down 12 for Reeves and the Seminoles. Tough situation. Maybe we'll see Reeves. He can throw the football. Got a good, strong arm, but he needs some time, and he won't get it. He's going to be sacked. And what do you know? Lois, the guy who came in for Baker, who had the bad shoulder pads, gets the sack. So good timing there. That'll bring up 4th down and a bunch.
Well, I think this time you watch Reeves kind of fade back here, and of course Baker puts the tackle on him, and they've lost a few yards here, and I think they're out of. Well, I just said they're out of field goal range, but by golly, they're going to try for it anyway. So this is a long field goal.
I'll tell you what, it's set down at the 36 plus 10 in the end zone, a 46-yarder for Boyd. Now he missed a 37-yarder earlier. He's going to have to punch it. It's a line drive, and it's going to be low.
It's as good as a punt, though, Jim.
Yeah, they'll start over at the 20. So the Seminoles with a couple of missed field goals and a Riverview with the goal line stand, and that's how we stand, 6-0. The Rams dodging all kinds of bullets here in the first half.
Well, I have to tell you that we said from the beginning that without Shawn Bane, Riverview is a different team, and I believe that we're seeing some of that in the first half because Shawn Bane adds an absolute third dimension to that team. He can run right up the middle, but especially when he gets outside, he's very, very tough. So they're having to rely now on Alexander keeping the ball and Big Bubba Mays making the plays right up the middle.
And we got a late pitch out here, and once again, near disaster for Riverview, as Caston was the intended guy to take the pitch, and Alexander getting a little wild there, and it'll be a big loss on the play. The ball rolled out of bounds, which helps Riverview. There were some Seminoles out there looking for it. That marked the ball back inside the 15. So a loss on the play of about 7. 2nd down, 17 now for the Rams. And Southeast has come so close. They've been in Ram territory 3 times now, but have missed a couple of field goals and then got nailed on the goal line stand. Alexander rolling left, and he's going to throw it this time. He's got a man down there, but it's overthrown and intercepted. And let's see who comes up with it for the Seminoles. That's number 7 for Southeast, Jerry Nelson. So Southeast with yet another turnover. The defense trying to get the Southeast back into this thing with the interception. So Southeast will once again with great field position. It'll be inside Ram territory, just on the other side of the 50. And we have an official's timeout now.
Well, the amazing thing about that pass is that Alexander enjoys so much time back there. Goodness, that big line just really opens up the way. He had plenty of time, all the time in the world to throw the ball. He was trying to hit Lewis Chisholm out there, but he just threw it long, and waiting for it is Nelson, and Southeast has the ball and not in bad field position again. They're going to start it right around the 49-yard line of Riverview, and I've got a theory, and watching football and watching pro teams and college and high school football teams, it seems to me when you have a chance to put somebody away, you better do it.
Boy, really.
And Riverview has made some mistakes here, and they're letting Southeast back in the game. And I tell you, Southeast is the kind of team that seems to get stronger as the game goes on, and that defense starts paying off for them. So we'll see if it makes a difference in this game.
And of course, this is one of those matchups, Charlie. It's just funny how things work. Like these 2 teams aren't in the same district. They're not even in the same class. Of course, Riverview 5A, Southeast 4A. But somehow this always seems to be a good football game. It's always just a great matchup year in and year out. Reeves back to throw. He's got a man wide open, and he's got him. And making the catch down there is number 5, Covington. Kevin Covington. And a gain of about 5 or maybe 4 on the play. And Paul Meckley said earlier this week that he assumed he would have to open it up a little bit more, get the ball outside and let Reeves throw the ball to deal with that big Rams defensive line.
I'm sure they're glad that Covington was able to play tonight. He gets open an awful lot, and I'm sure that they're especially glad that Omar Edwards is in the game, especially if Reeves is going to have to do much passing, because he really adds that stabilization that you want to that offensive line. 2nd down, 6, gain of 4 on the pass play. And let's see, Reeves is going to keep it, but he's not going to get 2. He breaks the tackle. Just when I had him down, he should have enough for the first down. And Reeves, kind of a tall, slender guy with a good arm. You don't think of him much as a runner, but I might have to change that line, I think. We've seen a side of John Reeves tonight that we haven't seen before, and that is that when he takes this ball and he decides to run with it, as you see him, he just cuts right back, right about on the outside of the tackle, and just runs that ball and he will not be tackled. He will not be denied, and he runs it on, and he's about a foot short of the first down. A great run by John Reeves, a determined run, and a very aggressive one. I haven't seen him play like this ever.
And we have a Riverview Ram down on the field. He might have been one of those guys trying to bring Reeves down, who broke a couple of tackles right at the line of scrimmage before Haskins, number 4, just had to hang on to his jersey and finally ride him down. Just shy of the first down, it'll be 3rd down in inches.
There are certain football games, Jim, where players seem to find themselves. It seems to be the one game where a player just says, you know, he really finds out what he's capable of doing, and he performs out there like the coaches expect him to. This may be that game for John Reeves. I hope he doesn't try to carry too much on himself, but he's looking to win this football game. He's a determined high school football player, and this may be that game that the coaches have been waiting for, where John Reeves kind of comes into his own.
And I'll tell you, Charlie, on a sad note, we're looking at Anthony Campbell out there, number 3. We've bragged about him. Let's hope it's not. They were looking at that knee. Let's see if he can put a little weight on it. And that's good to see. We were just talking about how he'd be a great college prospect at wide receiver or a defensive back, and he was down there for a while checking out that knee, enough that John Sprague, head coach, wandered out there to see what was going on. I don't know if we'll see him tonight again, but it doesn't look like anything too serious right now.
I think he'll be back. He's fun to watch, and I believe it'll take more than that to get him out there. He's walking too good to stay out of this game.
I'll tell you what, he's something else on a punt return. So 3rd down in inches for the Seminoles. They've been knocking on the Ram door all first half, but have yet to come up with any points. They're trying again. They're at the 40 of Riverview. And Reeves is going to give it to the second man through, Anthony Rawls, and Rawls breaks the tackle, not quite. Couldn't quite get that foot loose, but he gets about 5. It'll be a first down.
Anthony Rawls takes that thing, runs off between the guard and the tackle, and somebody's just got a hold of his big toe, it looks like, won't turn loose, and if they turn him loose, watch him when they grab him by the foot here, and they just won't turn him loose. See, they let him go, he makes a couple of surges. If they let him go, he's all the way into the end zone. Good run by Anthony Rawls.
And that was Haskins who hung on to the shoelaces. 1st and 10 for Southeast at the 35 of Riverview. Warm, humid night here in Sarasota. Back to throw is Reeves, and he's got a little time, but he's going to tuck it under his arm, and he's going to step out of bounds at about the 31. He'll pick up about 4, and that'll bring up 2nd down 6. So Reeves running the ball more than we've seen tonight. And Southeast, the offense moving well, just getting stalled when they get down there towards the payoff in the end zone.
Well, I know the coaches for Southeast, Coach Meckley and Taylor, they're glad that he didn't throw that ball that time. He dropped back in the pocket, but his receivers were well covered, and he did the right thing to run it and just go on over and run out of bounds with it and get another shot at it.
We have 4:41 left to go in our second quarter. Southeast trying to tie it up, and here comes the second man through. Rawls, first down. Great looking run. Rawls gets inside the 20 and breaking some tackles. The Southeast running backs running with authority tonight, breaking that line of scrimmage. That's another thing Paul Meckley talked about, wanting to get into that Riverview secondary. He doesn't like the looks of that defensive line for Riverview, and that's what they're doing. They're getting by that initial hit and taking it deep.
You're a fan and that doesn't excite you, I don't know what to tell you. Now, these players are not getting paid. These are high school football players, and that's a man that's running like he's possessed, Anthony Rawls. That was a nice carry.
1st and 10 at the 15. Reeves up top. He's got a man. And look out, Covington, who was knocked out in practice this week, is going to get himself a 15-yard touchdown pass. And Southeast has tied it up with 4:11 to go in our second quarter. And now we wait our extra point and see if Boyd, who's missed a couple of long field goal attempts, can give Southeast the lead.
Well, that time, and we'll get a chance to see this again, I'm sure, but that time, number 27 of Riverview, Watson, he gambled. He came up from the corner, and he gambled, and he made a bad mistake because as soon as he tried to pick that ball up, Covington was open for the end zone.
And it's blocked, so nobody can get the extra point through, and we're going to be deadlocked here. With 4:11 to go in our first half, we're all tied at 6-6. And this thing's looking a little bit like last year's game that went into overtime before Southeast could win it by a point. Good-looking football game out there tonight on a warm, muggy night here in Sarasota. 6-6, and don't forget next week we'll have a good one for you over at Hawkins Stadium. Manatee playing Bloomingdale. We're all tied at 6, and Southeast finally, after being in Ram territory for the 4th time here in the first half, a couple of missed field goals by Boyd, long attempts, and then that inadvertent whistle and a goal line stand by the Rams, but this time they punch it in, and they go to the air with John Reeves, and I think that's what Southeast will have to do. Be tough trying to make a living between the tackles against these Riverview Rams.
John Reeves has played a very poised game thus far, Jim, and I mean, he's tough to rattle, and he's done a good job getting that ball to the receiver there, especially that one to Covington.
And Boyd punches it down there, and that's Campbell.
I told you he'd be back.
And he looks like he's limping a little bit, but he still gets it out to about the 28. That's pretty good if you got a sore ankle and can still run like that.
You're not going to keep that kid out of the game. Look at him. Look at him come off the field.
I don't know how much that thing. I'll tell you what. If he keeps playing on that thing's going to be as big as a grapefruit in the morning. That left ankle. I don't know how much longer he can go. We better get some ice on that right now. That thing will be black and blue in the morning.
They got about 2 rolls of tape on it, and he was very quick to call for that kickoff and bring it back up to the 30-yard line, 28-yard line.
So now the Rams behind Alexander going to try it again here. We're all tied. And there's the big man, Bubba Mays, to about the 33-yard line. As he rumbles in there, Frost in on the stop, and Robich. 2nd down 5. As you look at Alexander, and these are names that for Southeast and Riverview, you've heard these names before in past years here on Paragon Cable. A lot of veteran players who got a lot of playing time, the sophomores and juniors. Both teams, plenty of experience, plenty of talent, plenty of boys. 6-6, 2nd down 5, and Alexander keeping it, and looks like he might have enough for the 1st down. Frost gets out there along with Nelson, who came up with that interception that set up the touchdown. See where they mark it. It should be enough.
Well, the guy that came across that time, I believe, was Brett Timmons, and caught him from behind. He pursued all the way, I think, from the other side of the field to get his hand on Alexander. And, you know, we talked about Big Bubba Mays, how we didn't know how long he could last because he weighs an awful lot. I mean, he's heavier than a car. And
most cars are.
Yeah. Heavier than a Volkswagen.
Taking it inside. Speaking of which, that's Mays. He gets a couple.
But he hadn't tired out yet. He's still running the ball pretty good, but he comes back to the huddle mighty slow.
I'll tell you what, there as you see Mays go, that guy with the head of steam, I'd like to stand in front of him and knock him down. No thanks.
Comes up through that middle, you better be prepared to either tackle him or run.
Run the other way might be the best course of action to stay healthy. 2nd down 5. And Alexander's going to keep it. A great move on the corner, and he's gone. Forget it. Unless there's a flag down, the Rams will score a 51-yard touchdown run for Alexander, and that's just that quickly. That's how explosive the Riverview Rams are.
Well, that's the danger, of course, of Alexander keeping that ball, and he just needs a little opening. And you watch him right here. He gets just a little opening right here. He's gone. Touchdown. He's so quick. You can't give him anything. You got to tackle him. You got to contain him. And that time he kind of slid through the cracks on that Southeast defense.
So 12-6 now is Alexander. A beautiful fake into the line, and then he juked the linebacker and defensive end on that side, and there was nobody back there. And now the Rams are going to go for 2 after failing on their first extra point attempt. And they're going to try big Bubba, but Bubba's not going to get in there. He does not score. Southeast keeps him out of there. So 12-6. We've got 3 touchdowns, and we haven't gotten ourselves an extra point yet. 12-6.
Those Southeast linebackers almost undressed Bubba Mays on that play. He's going.
Bubba doesn't look happy.
He's going right up into the trying to get that 2-point conversion, and they're trying to tackle him. They're holding on for dear life. They had his shirt pulled up over his head and his pads up under his nose.
I don't think Bubba's the guy you want mad at you somehow. If he gets cranky, that might be bad news. So the Rams will kick it off. They've taken the lead, 12-6, just that quickly with Alexander on the great option play. Good fake into the middle, made a move on the end, and he was gone. Nobody in that secondary was going to catch him. 12-6 with 2:16 left to go in our first half, and it's been a good one and a quickly played first half. And Southeast still with their passing attack with time to tie it up, 2:16. It'll be interesting to see what Southeast's philosophy is here on offense. if they come out with Reeves trying to wing it down the field, or if they play it more conservative. Hackett will kick it off. It's going to bounce, and Dennis will pick it up at his 7. He's across the 15, makes a move, brings it back outside, and to the 20-25, where he's pounded pretty good out of bounds. And you may notice at home tonight we have officials wearing a black armband, and that's in honor of Link Rowdy, whose untimely death happened recently. Another fellow official who in the area has been working games, and so you'll see officials probably throughout the rest of the season. And our condolences out to Link Rowdy and his family. 1st and 10 for Southeast from their own 26-yard line, 2:08 remaining. Reeves is the quarterback, and let's see what Southeast philosophy is here with just over 2 minutes to go. They're going to pitch it back, and here comes Rawls, and that'll work fine. You can keep it on the ground if you're going to get that kind of yardage. Forget it.
Flag on this play.
Oh, there's a flag. They won't catch Rawls as he does a little goose step Deion Sanders style, but it might be a crying shame. That fine run might have to come back.
2 flags on the
2 down there. We might have had a couple of clips, and it looks like this one's coming back. So Southeast playing good football tonight, but they're just a little bit snake bit. The 74-yard touchdown run is coming back. And let's see what the official says. You can hear the reaction from the Southeast side of the field. They're not happy. Holding. And that's a killer.
Okay, we're going to bring...
Well, that holding had to occur right up in the center. The way that flag was thrown, it had to occur right up in the center of that offensive line. I believe a lineman might have got a hold of somebody and held on. But I'll tell you, it was a fine-looking run by Anthony Rawls. And Southeast does seem just a tad snake bit tonight.
Scored the 1 touchdown. The inadvertent whistle brought it back. Not even a whistle out on the stands, or out on the field. It was from the stands, evidently, as they mark off the holding penalty. Now Rawls goes 74 yards, and it's coming back. And I'll tell you, you start thinking about having to throw the ball with only 2 minutes left in the first half, but you can go 74 yards on a running play. That'll do just fine, but it comes back with the holding.
Well, they got 1:55, Jim, to do something with it, and I think the last thing they want to do is turn this ball over because their field position is not as good as it was.
Get up!
And there goes the pitch back. That's Dennis now in the backfield, and he's not going to get much. He gets a little bit of yardage outside. Getting out there to knock him down is Lowitz, number 94. Bring up 2nd down and long now. And the clock continuing the run. Doesn't look like Southeast will try and stop it here. Let's see. They're going to go ahead and let her go. And that's a crying shame. They could have tied it up, maybe gone ahead with an extra point.
Well, if they can get this thing to maybe 3rd down with not very many ticks left on the clock, Reeves may just air one out. I mean, he's got a good, strong arm. He may toss one 40 or 50 yards down the field.
We saw the story there on the scoreboard. They fake the handoff, and Reeves, forget it. I think you'll see Southeast run it out now. It looked like he lost a shoe down there even. Now, that was the guy who made the sack, number 99, Chris Smith, for Riverview. Of course, I'm talking about Chris Smith, the fine Manatee linebacker.
Chris Smith almost gets him. He kind of gets away, and then he's actually pursued by another lineman from Riverview, but they lost a shoe, and they sacked John Reeves for a great big loss. Now I think what they want to do is just play very, very carefully. They got 1:01. Maybe we have a timeout by Riverview, and that's exactly what we have, Jim. They want to stop this clock because they want to play some football in this last minute down in this with a good field position.
Right. So 1:01 remaining. You won't see Southeast trying to stop the clock now after that sack, but it'll be 3rd down and long for the Seminoles, and Riverview has ideas of quite possibly another timeout after Southeast runs this play and trying to get the ball back. And of course, Charlie, we don't know how well Campbell is with that bad ankle, but when you got a guy you want Southeast to punt this football, he could give you a bigger lead just on the return if he's healthy enough.
Well, this may be one of those times that you punt the ball on 3rd down. And
not a bad idea.
I don't know if Southeast will do that or not, and I'm not certainly not trying to second guess them. But when you got a 3rd and 34,
right,
that's a long way to go, and especially when you're on your own 8 or 9 yard line. So I don't. It doesn't look like they have anybody in there that can kick it. I don't believe that Reeves can. So looks like they're going to go with another play.
Let's see what you do on 3rd and 34. You hand it off, and Rawls isn't going to get much. He's chopped down there in a hurry. Making a stop is Brian Gillen, number 54. He's played good defense. And as we expected, Riverview will take a timeout, and so will we. Don't go away. 54 seconds left. 12-6 Riverview.
Alexander's going to carry the ball or throw the ball and not give it to Bubba May. Now, if Bubba should get one and explode for 30 yards and score a touchdown, I'm sure everybody would have egg on their face. But chances are that Alexander, with 30 yards to go in 38 seconds, I think he's either going to throw the ball out here to Robert Brown, or he's going to try to do one of those keepers that where he marched for a nice long touchdown a few minutes ago.
1st and 10, clock running. Alexander is gonna heave it, and he's got a man down there. It's Brown, and oh, great defense. Brown was right there with his hands on the ball and getting there. Let's see, we'll try and get the number for you. Didn't quite see it there. We'll try as they come back. I might have been Nelson. If we have that, I'd like to give the player credit. It was hard to see here in that corner. We're kind of with our necks craned out here in the press box, but a great defensive play. 30 seconds to go now in the first half. Alexander's going to go the other way. Another deep one, and it's caught. Missing the interception over there was the Southeast defender, and it is a touchdown. Making the catch is Chisholm, number 36, Lewis Chisholm. So the one thing Southeast couldn't afford just happened.
Well, this thing goes right through the hands, I believe, or at least tipped off of a Southeast defender. We'll watch it right here. And ball goes up in the air, and I think it's going to be tipped right there and right back in the hands of Chisholm for a touchdown.
I think it was Brown who almost had the interception.
Yeah, it looked like Charlie Brown that had his hands on it and had a shot at it, but that's most unfortunate. Like I say, now we got 22 seconds. They have a big lead.
And once again, an extra point is blocked. We haven't had one tonight. 4 touchdowns, and nobody can get an extra point. So, devastating blow there to Southeast with 22 seconds remaining. 18-6.
Good job, Lewis. Good job, man.
So Riverview with a couple of second quarter touchdowns here. They've actually scored 2 here in less than 2 minutes. You had the 51-yard run by Alexander. Now he tosses a 31-yard pass to Lewis Chisholm.
Well, what you have to worry about now is there's still 22 seconds left on the board, and what Southeast has got to do is they got to make sure that they field this kickoff cleanly, get it back on up the field for some good field position, just to kind of keep Riverview from having another one of those quick touchdowns in there. So Southeast just needs to hang on to it, get it out, run a play, stop the clock, or run the clock out, go in the dressing room, regroup, because they're only 12 points behind.
Right. And those missed extra points could play a big factor. They generally do in a close game. But I agree with you, Charlie. You don't get fancy here. Just sit on the football and get ready for halftime and talk it over. Hackett, and he tries an onside kick. And I don't know who came up with that. We got quite a pile. It might take a while to sort this one out.
Looked like the Southeast lineman came up with it. I believe that he did. And I'll tell you, that onside kick almost worked because he did fumble it.
It is Southeast ball. And let's see, let's give credit to the Southeast player who recovered it, getting up pretty slow. That's number 60 down there.
Chris Wisman.
And look, he really gets popped.
Yeah.
I mean, he got bent back there. I hope he's okay.
Well, Chris got that ball on the onside kick, and he bobbled it around a little bit, but he was alert enough to fall on it and hang it. I don't know. They probably were not expecting that onside kick. I think that they had some of those good hands up there that they normally do when they're expecting it. Chris is a big old lineman. He hadn't touched the football in a while.
So now the Noles, they do have good field position. Maybe you do try a pass here. Who knows? With 20 seconds. I'll tell you what, if you do, though, you better throw it mighty deep. And wait a second. No, we got more whistles stopping the play with 17 seconds to go in the first half. Of course, stay with us at halftime. They have the Kildee Marching Band for Sarasota Riverview, and they always find Southeast Seminole Marching Band.
False start, 88, offense.
Procedures the call against the Seminoles.
Come on, Coach.
We'll back it up, and maybe they'll try it again. They're from their own 43. A pass now would have to go 57 yards to get you 6 points. Time for a couple. Like I say, you just want to be careful and not to give up that turnover here deep in the territory. You better throw it up. And here again, we got more flags. The Noles aren't starting on the same time here.
Well, I was wondering if maybe Riverview wasn't offsides on that one. They were.
Might be.
They were on the other side mighty quick.
Dead ball. False start.
Nope.
Offense.
Southeast again. So the Seminoles looking to maybe try a Hail Mary pass, but 2 procedure penalties, and we're down to 9 seconds left in the first half. Southeast trailing 18-6. And I'll tell you, Charlie, it's got to be frustrating for Southeast. They've essentially played a pretty darn good half of football, but they find themselves down 18-6. A couple of things haven't gone their way. They've made a couple of mistakes, but Reeves back. He will try. He's going to throw it as far as he can, and that kid can throw it. Look at that thing down there at the 25, and it's Brown makes the catch, but he was out of bounds. It won't be an interception, and that will end our first half, and it's been a good one. And that's our score. Riverview 18, Southeast 6. Don't go away. Halftime right after this.
camcorder jumps around, so does a picture, and that's bad. But this Panasonic Palmcorder camcorder has digital image stabilization. Okay, switch it on. See? It holds a picture steady, even if your hand jumps around this much. The Panasonic Palmcorder is VHS, so its taste can play in your VHS recorder and everyone else's.
Panasonic Palmcorders, starting at $7.97.
The Panasonic Palmcorder.
On sale now at Sears.
Adam.
Great first half, 18-6, Riverview on top. We'll sum up that scoring for you here after we have our kickoff. Hackett will be kicking it off for Riverview. Hope you enjoyed that halftime show. Two fine bands for the Kildee Band from Riverview, of course, and the Southeast Marching Band. Quite a show at halftime. Hackett, nice looking kickoff. He's sending the return men back deep at the 5, across the 15, and we got a flag down at the 20. I think we're going to have some kind of a clip or illegal use of hands. This one will probably come back a little bit. 18-6 is our score, Southeast trailing. And Southeast, the tough luck team here in the first half as we wait for our penalty signal. And we'll take another look at the kickoff return. Bring it back, and don't know, I didn't quite see where that clip was. They threw it to...
Well, they threw that flag toward Anthony Rawls, who came up and made a block right there on special teams. Now, whether or not he's a guilty party, I don't know, but this is most unfortunate for Southeast that it comes back because it starts them in a hole again, and that's just what they didn't need to come out and start this second half. They needed the ball, pretty good field position, and they need a good drive to get a score.
Decline.
They declined
below the weight against the offense.
So a couple of penalties, actually, and Riverview will take the block below the waist. Of course, Southeast, tough luck school there in the first half. They had the 74-yard run by Rawls called back on a holding penalty. Also scoring was Reeves, the quarterback, on a 6-yard run, and there was an inadvertent whistle actually coming from the stands, believe it or not, and officials made an honest mistake and thought the play had been blown dead. They trail 18-6. Southeast going to have to ignore those mistakes and tough luck and get back into it, and they try and hit Covington there on a wideout. And Reeves, that's a little timing pattern, and the timing wasn't there. It'll bring up 2nd down and 10.
John Reeves comes right out throwing, and he pitches that thing over to Kevin Covington and hopes he can grab a hold of it. The only thing is, he just throws it a little too high and a little too long for him. But you can see an example there of Reeves' strong arm. He has the capability, I think, to throw that ball some 45, 50 yards downfield. So sometime before this night's over, especially if Southeast stays behind, I think you'll see him air it out.
2nd down 10 for the Rams at their own 11-yard line, and now we've got a whistle. Let's see if we sort this one out. So Southeast, kind of a rough start here in the second half.
Dead ball, false start on the offense.
Well, that's something, Jim, that's developed in, I'd say, about the last 4 series where Southeast just can't seem to get their timing together, and somebody on that line jumps a little bit, or either Reeves pulls back a little too fast, and they've had about 4 or 5 false start penalties in the last 3 or 4 series.
2nd down 10. And there, stumbling in the backfield, I believe that was Rawls, and no one really touched him. He just tripped himself up and fall down at about the 5. So a loss on the play for the Seminoles.
Looks like Rawls stepped on his own foot that time, or either Reeves stepped on his foot when he gave him the ball, but he didn't get much yardage out of that call.
So it'll bring up 3rd down and 15 from the 9-yard line for the Seminoles. And they don't want to give up the ball here because the Rams, with that 12-point lead, would get pretty good field position here if they're forced to punt. From his own end zone, here comes Reeves. He's flirting with the safety, and he'll just smartly run out of bounds at about the 3. Avoids the safety, but now Southeast will be faced with 4th down and a whole bunch, and they'll be forced to punt it away.
Well, even in trouble, John Reeves is a cool head. He really risked that time being thrown for a safety back in his own end zone, but he just kind of coolly steps right on out of there, brings the ball, and runs it back out of bounds on the near side. So not much punting room, though. Southeast is going to have to kick this ball from deep in their own end zone.
And once again, Brown is the deep man. He's at the Southeast 37 waiting for this punt. Once again, Anthony Campbell with that ankle injury, evidently severe enough, and a terrible looking punt off the side of the foot. And it will go out of bounds. So Boyd not coming up with a good one there, in Riverview with, to say the least, some great field position. Let's see where they mark it. But the 28-yard line of Southeast, so there's a gift-wrap drive for the Rams if they can take advantage. You've got Alexander. He had a big first half. He scored the go-ahead touchdown on a 51-yard run with 2:16 left to go in the second quarter, and also with just 22 seconds left, a 31-yard pass to Chisholm. 18-6. And there's Big Bubba Mays going straight ahead. He's inside the 25-yard line, all 286 pounds. Wrapping him up for the Seminoles, Brian Temple, number 32, the linebacker. Second down. We'll call it second down and about 8. Riverview with great field position in that 18-6 lead. They scored their first touchdown. Alexander scored the first one. He's run for 2 and thrown for another, the quarterback. He's been the story. And Mays fumbles the football.
At least Southeast has it.
It looks like Frost might have come up with it. At least Charlie Brown's making the signal, and he did.
Yeah, Southeast recovers that.
No, it wasn't Frost. Excuse me, McMillan. And that's his second turnover of the night. Second fumble he's recovered. You see the ball on the ground there. And McMillan alertly jumps in there. So he's got himself a fumble pickup. The interception by Nelson for Southeast in the first half. Jerry Nelson set up a Southeast lone score, which was a 15-yard pass from Reeves to Kevin Covington.
Nothing against the Riverview team whatsoever, Jim, but I think I'm glad Southeast recovered that. You and I were hoping for a good close game tonight. They score that touchdown right there if Riverview does, and they get a chance to blow it out.
Going straight ahead is Rawls, maybe back to the line of scrimmage. Not much, as that Riverview defensive line getting kind of tough here in the second half. Making a stop down there, Chris Smith, number 99. Second down, we'll call it 8 for Southeast with the ball at the 25-yard line. Just inside the 25, actually. Don't forget, next week, be over at Hawkins Stadium where Manatee will entertain Bloomingdale. Southeast looking for their second win in a row. They came in 3-1. Trailing now 18-6. And keeping it is Reeves, and he's got all kinds of room. And a first down, he's across the 40 up to the 45. And that's what Southeast needed to get him out of the doldrums. Making a stop, number 5, Robert Brown.
That thing's been working all night for Southeast when they fake the handoff and Reeves keeps the ball and runs it around the outside. You see him here, he comes to the near side, fake the handoff, and then he's just got open ground ahead of him for some 10 to 15, 20 yards, and he needs one block to spring it even for a bigger gain. But nice call by the Southeast coaches, a nice run by John Reeves.
First and 10, Seminoles at the 45, trying to cut into that 12-point lead. Remember, we've had 4 touchdowns tonight. No one's been able to convert an extra point. And there's Reeves again. That option is just working beautifully, and he almost broke that last tackle and kept on going, making a stop. Barely was Matisse Long, number 30. First down inside the 40 for the Seminoles. So John Reeves, who's basically had kind of a reputation as a strong-arm guy who's a good passer, really showing us he can run the football.
Well, watch him right here. He takes his ball and once again, he fakes the handoff to Jackson, keeps it, goes. It's the same play, it's just to the left side. No difference whatsoever. If he keeps his balance right here after this tackle, or missed tackle, if he keeps his balance and runs, he goes in for a score. He fell down. He was not knocked down.
At the 37. This time it's Jackson, and that option sets up this play for Jackson to bust it up the middle. He needed that one block by the wide receiver and didn't get it. He'll be run out of bounds at the 10, but he gets 27 yards. And Charlie, with Reeves able to run outside, they started to forget about Andrew Jackson, and he made him pay.
Well, that's exactly right. When you have a quarterback that can make things happen, you watch big Andrew Jackson. I mean, of course, that was kind of fast motion right there, and I missed
faster than we thought.
I missed it at the line, but Andrew Jackson runs through a big hole, but the Riverview defense was worried that Reeves is going to carry that ball to the outside again. They totally forgot about Andrew Jackson up the middle.
And he just needed one more block, someone to block Brown down there, a wide receiver, and he would have taken it all the way. And there's Reeves that time, and there's a fumble, and there was just a mix-up on the handoff. Jackson must have reached for it. Reeves wanted to run the option, so Southeast shoots himself in the foot with the fumble.
Well, another nice drive by Southeast comes to, and you can see it right here. You see that he and Jackson just get totally confused. The ball just pops out of there. It looks like that maybe Reeves was supposed to keep the ball in one of those patented keeper plays, and Jackson tried to take it. So we don't know who's right and who's wrong there. We only know that it developed into a fumble. Riverview has the ball first down, and they have an injured player out there. Looks like a cramp.
Looks like he'll be okay. Making the recovery there was T.J. Nutter, number 53, the veteran linebacker. And it looks like Haskins, number 4, down out there. Rubbing out that cramp. But that's Southeast really moving the football well, Charlie, with Reeves running it. Good size, especially for a high school quarterback, 6'3", 180. Good passer, strong arm, and showing us he can really run tonight. Southeast picking up yardage in chunks. And that is Haskins. I think we'll see him again. That's just a cramp. But you come up with a costly turnover deep in Riverview territory, and it all goes for nothing.
Even if Southeast loses this football game, we still got a long way to go here. But even if they should lose it, I think the coaches have found something with John Reeves that's going to inspire them for the rest of the year here. I think they've seen a John Reeves, like we mentioned earlier, that we haven't seen all year.
At the 16, the Rams start, and that's Caston. Gets some good yardage. Higdon, number 71, and Brown, number 6. Grab him, but not until he gets some good yardage. Give him about 6 on the play. It'll be second down 4.
You know, Charlie Brown at the corner for what you make this tackle right here is the play develops. Charlie Brown grabs a hold and just holds on Caston for dear life. That kid loves to tackle people. He's a nice cornerback. Gets his hand on the. He defends the pass real well. Just does a great job at corner.
There comes Big Bubba Mays, and Robich is hanging on for the ride, and he gets a good ride across the 35, and Bubba gets about 12 on the play.
Well, Rich Frost was hanging on. Robich was hanging on. I think the nose guard Temple got totally stomped up there on that play, but Big Bubba is something to watch.
I'll tell you what, I think we need to get Bubba a little longer shirt out there. He's got quite a bit of his belly showing there, but I wouldn't want to be the one to tell him. I hope he didn't hear that.
We stated earlier, Jim, they undress him on every play. That's the only way you can tackle him is get his shirt pulled up over his head so he can't see.
Yeah, maybe he'll stop and want to get it back. And this time it's Alexander. And he's out to the 45. He's close to another first down, just shy. Getting into that Southeast secondary, making a stop. Gennard Lewis for Southeast. But Alexander gets about 8 on the play. It'll be second down 2. Let's take another look.
Well, the same principle applies here as you see Alexander keep this thing and run around to the near side and gets a nice gainer. It's the same principle we talked about with Southeast offense a few minutes ago, because you have Big Bubba that opens up the way for a couple of times, and for a couple of plays, the next thing you know, here you expecting him to come. Alexander keeps and gets a good gainer out of it.
Hitting him first down there was Jerry Nelson, the guy who got the interception in the first half that led to Southeast's only score. Second man through, and that's Chisholm. He caught the touchdown pass back in the first half, and the Rams, that offense looking mighty good. That's a first down as he takes it into Southeast territory at about the 46, first and 10. And now we have an official's timeout. This is a new wrinkle this year, Charlie, due to making sure the kids don't get dehydrated. As you look at the score there on the scoreboard, 18-6 with 5:44 left to go. So make sure nobody gets dehydrated. This isn't a charge timeout to either team, but officials will stop play at least once during a quarter to make sure, especially in this hot, humid weather, and we still got it here well into October here on the Suncoast.
It's a good idea, Jim, and if you look over in the Southeast defensive huddle right now, you see Coach DeLazier, and I would bet you that what he's telling these guys, say, listen, you're not playing as inspired as you were in the first half. You're not as aggressive. You're letting these holes develop up the middle. You're letting this big fullback run over you here, and you're letting Alexander get out. Now get aggressive like you were in the first half. They did a good job, except for 1 or 2 mistakes on long scoring by Alexander. They did a pretty good job holding this offense. That's what he's telling them. Get back aggressive. Get your head in the game. You're still not out of it.
Handoff to Caston, the second man through. He fumbles. Did he get it back? No, Southeast has recovered the Caston fumble. And let's see if they ruled it dead. Dennis came up with it. Leslie Dennis, number 4.
Southeast.
And it is Southeast ball. So Southeast has made their own breaks. That's their 4th turnover, if I'm not mistaken, that they have forced Riverview into. A fumble in the first half, the interception, a couple fumbles here already.
It's a very questionable call unless I see something different here, but I believe that I believe the ground caused it. No, he was in the air. I take that back.
He still was.
Yeah, originally it looked like the ground caused that fumble, but on the replay we did see the officials made the correct call, and I apologize for second guessing them.
And you look at Caston, disappointed in himself for coughing that thing up. It was another good-looking drive for Riverview after they recovered a Southeast fumble. They fumble it right back after bringing it back into Southeast territory, so the Noles still with new life at their own 41, trailing 18-6. And we have a new Southeast quarterback in there. Reeves is now out of there, and Peter Warwick, number 10. He's just a sophomore. We saw him play a good deal against Bayshore. He ran for a couple of touchdowns against the Bruins last week. And Coach Meckley changing quarterbacks, takes Reeves out, brings Warwick in.
Well, John Reeves, he must be injured because he's been doing a fabulous job. I can't imagine any other reason he'd be out of this ball game.
It'll be second down now and 11, a loss of a yard on the last play. And straight ahead, Andrew Jackson gets about 5. He's out to about the 46. We're making a stop out there. It's Haskins, number 4, the young man who had the cramp. You saw him still messing with his toes there, trying to point that toe up towards your shin, which is the only thing you can do in self-defense when you get a cramp. It'll be third down and 5 with Warwick, the sophomore quarterback in the game. And it'll be interesting to see if we do see Reeves again, if he is hurt, or if Paul Meckley's just thought it was time for a quarterback change, maybe after that last fumble. Pitch goes back, and leaping some folks is Rawls, who gets a first down. Very athletic play.
Be there when he goes up
and that's what Southeast needed on 3rd and 5. He takes it into Ram territory, lost a shoe in the process. Put that back on.
Jim, Andrew Jackson needs to be out this ball game. He's injured, and he's not getting. He was injured before that last play as well. Anthony Rawls was trying to point it out to the referee and to the coaches. Right. Hey, this man's hurt, but he's still in there. Nobody's picked up on it, but he needs to be out of there. He's injured pretty bad to his right leg.
You can see him limping up to get into his stance there. 1st and 10 at the Ram 44. Warwick is the new quarterback, and Jackson, bum leg and all, isn't going to go very far, maybe a yard, and he's buried there right away by Chris Smith, number 99. 2nd down 9, also in the bottom of that pile. Jack Owsley, number 77. And look at it, there's Jackson's now. He can't even get up.
Anthony Rawls is trying to tell the coaching staff, you need to get Jackson out of here. He's injured, and he was trying to get that message over to Scotty Taylor and to Coach Meckley and say, get somebody in here for him. But he's been hurt for 3 plays, and he carried for a 1-yard gain when he couldn't hardly walk on that last play.
So they're going to check him out. We'll see who the new fullback is. Last week we saw a lot of Chad Hayes. He scored a touchdown against Bayshore. Maybe he'll be the replacement. We'll see. Or maybe we saw Robich, the linebacker. We'll take a look here at this. You see,
there he is. He's going through the line. He's got an injured leg and can't hardly move before Jackson takes that play, before he takes that handoff. And he was hurt pretty bad there. And Anthony Rawls was just was pointing to him. He tried to tell the referee he couldn't get his attention. He tries to get word to the coaching staff. That was 3 plays ago, and he even tried it in the huddle the last time. So this man really ran a risk there of hurting himself bad. I don't know what he did. It looked like it could have even been cramp.
Well, you know what?
And Coach Meckley's come out onto the field. Still down out there is Jackson. We saw Chad Hayes last week score a touchdown. Maybe he'll be the replacement, but also we saw Robich. I see Robich out there right now.
Robich in there now.
Yeah, usually a linebacker. We saw him run a few plays in the first half, and he's going to be the guy as Jackson, walking under his own power, but walking slowly. Paul Meckley out there walking in front with the clipboard.
Rich Robich, 6'1", weighs 220 pounds. And so he's as big as a fullback, and or big as a fullback should be. He's not as big as Riverview's fullback, but he's certainly big as Southeast. And we've seen him carry the ball 2 or 3 times. He looks pretty good.
And let's see what Robich can do here on 2nd down and 9. 3:25 to go in our 3rd quarter. We haven't had any scoring in the 2nd half. Still 18-6. And look out, Warwick tried that option play. And Brian Gillen, number 54, said, going to lose about 3. 3rd down now and about 13.
And here's John Reeves back.
Reeves comes back in for Warwick, so evidently Paul Meckley just bringing in Warwick to see if he could get something going offensively, because Reeves is back in there. Tough situation for Reeves to come back in now. It's 3rd down. We'll call it 10. 3rd and 10 for Reeves. Tough time to come in and Kid like that, I suppose you want him throwing the football. We'll see. We've got 3 wide receivers in the game for the Seminoles. No tight end, 2 running backs out of the eye. Curry in motion. And Reeves got a man wide open, throws a bullet for the 35, and that was the man in motion, Talmadge Curry.
Pretty close to first down too, Jim. He's right on. I mean, he's real close to a first down. Nice play by John Reeves, and he just just quick release by Reeves. He takes that thing and throws it right in there, a strike.
Pass.
And they may have the first down. They do have the first down.
They do. So tell you what, John Reeves, you've mentioned about his poise, Charlie, to come in there on 3rd and 10 after sitting down for a while and throw that little look-in pass. Very impressive.
He's a relaxed quarterback, and you don't scare him up very easily. Even when you put the rush on him, Riverview hasn't run the blitz with their defense maybe not at all tonight. But you don't scare John Reeves. He sits back there, very relaxed, very poised, and very much in charge.
1st and 10, Southeast at the Riverview 34. So the Seminoles hanging in. Their defense keeps coming up with turnovers to give the offense a shot. And there's a lot of time for Reeves. There goes that big arm, but he overthrows everybody. Flying down there was Covington. He was well covered by number 27, Watson. It'll bring up 2nd down, 10.
I think Covington that time may have stopped, and his pattern probably was just to go right on down in the end zone. I would imagine that was a play call there and let John Reeves hit you in the end zone. But I think Covington pulled up around 35, around the 15-yard line, and when he did, he couldn't get back in time because you can see there how John Reeves can whip that ball. He threw that ball a long way and really didn't even, without any effort at all, he pitches it all the way in the end zone. This kid has a great arm.
And now Watson, who was covering on the play, he comes limping off the field. And Derek Timmons, number 13, replaces him. So some people getting nicked up, and that's not surprising in a hard-hitting game like this. Plus, it's a hot, humid night. People are getting tired. We're approaching the end of the 3rd quarter. Southeast trying to cut into that 12-point lead. Pitch goes back. Look out. And picking it up going the other way was Leslie Dennis. And now he fumbles. And the ball's just been on the ground too much, actually, for both teams. And Dennis, now let's see. It looked like Riverview had it, but now there hasn't been an official signal.
I got the ball. Who has it, Jay? Who has it?
Here, our officials on the field.
3rd down.
3rd down. I heard an official say joint possession.
3rd down.
So Southeast had somebody. We'll take another look at it here on the replay.
Well, you see this thing just totally gets out of hand. Pitch back to Anthony Rawls. He can't hold on to it. Leslie Dennis gets it, runs it on around the other side, and gets hit right there, and the ball jars out of his hand. Then it gets underneath, and I think you heard correctly, Jim, joint possession, which means they couldn't tell really who had it, and the ball goes back to the offense. Southeast gets a little break, but they got 3rd and long, and they really need to capitalize on this possession right here. This is a very important one because there's only 1:36 left in the 3rd quarter.
And I think it was John Reeves, the quarterback, who stuck his nose in there and got partial possession. He fakes the handoff. He's rolling right. He's got company out here. And he hits his man. And let's see, stepping out of bounds is Rawls. I think he might be just shy of the 1st down. But, of course, you're in 4-down territory, especially when you trail 18-6.
Well, absolutely. I think you'll see him go for it here. But John Reeves can't say enough about him. You watch him here. By all rights, I mean, this guy has a chance of being sacked way back here, but watch him how cool he is. He just keeps right on coming. He doesn't panic, throws the ball to Rawls.
Right on the money.
Yeah, right in his, hits him right in the numbers with it, and Rawls manages to stay inbound for another 5 or 6 yards. And now Riverview calls a timeout.
Riverview wants the timeout, and it's Southeast who faces the 4th down and 3, but the Rams want to talk it over, and I'll tell you, Charlie, we've had a lot of turnovers here tonight. Both teams got a lot of hard hitting and trying to take advantage. Look at John Sprague with a word to the officials. And John Sprague's a very interesting guy. Always has plenty to say. Interesting fellow. Entertaining too.
Yeah, he is that.
He's had a lot to overcome this season.
Should call him John Poormouth. He always Poormouth down here. He's got more talent than anybody in the state. He's Poormouth, and you think he's going to get beat every game, and he hasn't lost one yet on the field this year.
Not on the field, but those forfeits have killed the Rams. Now, it'll be interesting to see, Charlie, now those new state rankings. Even with the forfeit loss, they beat Manatee the first week of the season, had one ineligible player, so Manatee got the win. They still were ranked number 1, but now since that time, they've lost 2 more games because of another ineligible player. So now they are technically 1-3. It'll be interesting to see what the state pollsters have to think about that, because obviously you can't deny how good they are on the field. Pitch goes back to Rawls on 4th and 3. He needs to turn that corner in a hurry, and he does. And I'll tell you what, Charlie, that's what just pure speed will do for you. He looked like he was dead, 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, but he just turned it upfield. And that was as impressive a 5-yard run as you'll ever see. Take a look at it.
Well, Anthony Rawls absolutely has all the speed in the world. You take this thing, it looks like he's going to be tackled as he goes around that left side. Look at all these Riverview jerseys coming after. They're reaching out there trying to get, you can't reach at him. You got to dive for him and tackle him. He carries it for the first down plus a few yards.
That could have very easily been a 4 or 5 yard loss without the speed of Rawls. But it gets the free. Here comes John Reeves, and this time he's going to get, nope. Almost spoke too soon. I thought he might get that touchdown that he was robbed of in the first half, but he gets mighty close. It should be another first down as Reeves hauls it down inside the 5. So Southeast continues to make it mighty interesting here. They trail 18-6. And Reeves, I'm just surprised at how well he runs the football. I always knew he could.
Long makes a game-saving tackle. I mean, a touchdown-saving tackle right here, Jim. You see him carrying it in. Look, there he goes right there. That's Long. Comes into your picture. Makes a nice tackle on John Reeves. Saves a touchdown.
It'll be 1st and goal from the 2 for the Seminoles. Less than a minute to go in our 3rd quarter. Here comes the pitch. Here comes Anthony Rawls. Forget it.
Touchdown.
He is too quick. So we do have ourselves a game, and now the extra points become large. It's now 18-12, and let's see what Southeast elects to do extra point-wise.
Well, if I was Southeast, I mean, you know, well, here we go again. If I'm Southeast, I'm always giving it this free advice up here. You see Anthony Rawls come, once you get him outside, it's all over. I mean, there's nobody going to touch him. Look at him do that little skip and hop there. You know, he's talking last week. He's learned how to celebrate. But
he's got it down.
What I was going to say is I'd sure like to see him kick this one because that going for 2 is a little risky.
Well, and you're only down by 6. You really don't need the 2 points. They get it, so 18-13. A touchdown now puts you on top. You don't need the extra point. So 18-13. Things getting very interesting here at the Ram Bowl in Sarasota.
Well, we got ourselves a football game, Jim Brockman.
Yes, we do. And with 45 seconds left, Rawls, a little bit of poetic justice for him. He scored from 74 yards out towards the end of the first half. A holding penalty brought that back. He finally gets his 6th. Boyd adds the extra point, 18-13. And let's say we're going to take another look at this touchdown run.
Well, you see Anthony Rawls, and just watch how fast he is as he comes around. There's a last hope right there, and you can't get a hand on him. That looked like Brown. He just comes right on around, skips right on in. This guy has got some speed. You know, at this point, Jim, Southeast's got to feel real good with all the mistakes that they've made, the turnovers, all the problems they've had. They're still very much in this football game. They still got a chance to win it. And, of course, what they need to do right now, if they want to beat Riverview, is they need to contain this big explosive offense that they have and not let them put any more points on the board.
Boyd will be kicking it off. Southeast now just trailing by 5. Whoa, we got whistles all over the place. I think Southeast was offsides. 45 seconds to go in our 3rd quarter, and it's been a good one. And of course, these 2 teams, it's ironic on any level of football. Something happens when certain teams get together, in Southeast and Riverview, it's the same kind of thing. Always interesting. Overtime 21-20 win last year for Southeast.
Encroachment on the kicking team. Encroachment on the kicking team.
Our official lays it out for us, encroachment.
Well, there's just some sort of magic. I don't know what it is that happens when these teams play, and you can throw all the stats out the window. You can throw just about everything out. They almost play on an even plane, and they do it year after year after year. And it's just unbelievable, really, how even up they play when they meet each other.
So Boyd from 5 yards deeper tries it again. No flag this time. Brown at his 11. He'll cross the 15-20. He's got a head of steam across the 30. And somebody got a hold of an ankle as he got up to about the 38-yard line. Still a nice-looking return. Making the stop down there for the Seminoles was Carl Hines, number 44.
Robert Brown is a very impressive young man that plays on this Riverview football team. They use him a little bit everywhere as you see him bring it back here. And he's just tough. See how he drags some people with him, keeps on going, wants to get loose there. They play him on defense. They play him at wide receiver. He's an all-purpose football player.
First and 10 Riverview at their own 38. And Alexander will keep it, but he's not getting too far this time. That option has hurt Southeast tonight, but not that time. Shagging him down from behind, Brett Timmons, number 54, and he had some help from Robic.
Jim, that's the first time I believe all night long that Southeast has actually read that thing correctly. That defense that time stayed right in, keyed in on Tim Alexander. They didn't fall for that trick with Big Bubba coming up the middle, and they contained him, held him for a couple of yards, and you got to figure that a success in this particular scheme of offense here.
And that's the end of our third quarter. Don't go away. The fourth quarter looks like it's going to be a good one. Our score, Riverview 18, Southeast 13. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Across the 45 up to about the 48. Getting a hold of an ankle down there is Leslie Dennis, number 4.
Well, they call him the Fridge down here at Riverview, Big Bubba, but honestly, I don't think the Fridge can run like this kid. You watch him run that thing right up the middle there and just carry people with him. He's more like a Larry Zonka, I think. The Fridge couldn't stay with this young man.
Fridge would be tired by now.
That's right. Fridge would be over here watching this game.
Third down and less than a yard for the Rams, and on that call, why not give it to Bubba? He gets the first down, but we got a late flag, and I wonder if it's not some kind of a holding call. Might take away that first down. Rich Frost on the stop.
Well, if they didn't use a nose, if they didn't hold a guard by a nose guard, holding, yes.
So the Rams, that third down and a foot. And who do we got down there? I think that's Mays.
Big Bubba
on the field. He's not getting up too quickly. And there again, there's a cramp. That's they're bending that toe back.
Yeah.
So Bubba's got a cramp.
I didn't think anybody hurt him.
So third down and, well, actually that would have been a first down. Mays got about 6 on the play, but the holding's going to make it third down and long. And that's a big break for Southeast. Now the Rams, Mays will have to come out for a play. And he's got fans here. He's signaling to the crowd, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody worrying about me. I'll be all right.
These fans love him over here. Every time he gets the call, they're cheering for him. And I mean, they really love him. They love to see him play. And it's always fun to see a great big man that's agile enough to play a position like fullback. And these Riverview fans, he's one of their favorites.
James Mills, number 33, replaces him. He's got good size of his own. 5'9", 197, but he looks like a peanut next to Mays. Third down and 11. Alexander's going to run the option, determined run. He gets about 6, but he's well short of a first down. Alexander really lowered his head there. But it'll be fourth down and 5 or 6. So the Rams, it looks like they'll punt. Hackett's onto the field, and this is just what Southeast needs, trailing by 5 points. Plenty of time left, 10:40 to go in our fourth quarter. 4th and 6. Covington drops back for Southeast to field the punt. Remember, he ran one back last week against Bayshore. So did Leslie Dennis, number 4. Not much of a rush. Looks like they're trying to set up the return. And it will be Covington inside his 20. And there's a clip. Dennis with Covington, a nice return, but Dennis really did very obvious clip back there.
Yeah, he did it in a bad place, right in front of the official. And, of course, there's never any real good place to clip, but you sure don't want to do it right there. There's one official watching, and he's looking right at Leslie Dennis. That's the only guy he's looking at.
We'll take a look at it. This is what you call clipping, right?
There it is. That's it. That's clipping. That's textbook clipping right there.
Yeah, if you're not sure what clipping is, that's what clipping is. So that'll back up the Seminoles. However, they still have the ball. They've got a cool head and John Reeves at quarterback. And they've proved they can move the football. Both teams have proved they can move on each other's defense. And let's see how far back.
On a return team.
That's really smart. Covington was out near the 40-yard line, but now they'll have to start back, way back at about the 10. Let's see, they haven't put the markers down yet. But Covington had brought the ball up around the 40-yard line.
This is what got Southeast in trouble in the first half, so let's see if we have a repeat here.
They'll start from about their 12, we'll call it, 1st and 10. Still over 10 minutes to go, fourth quarter. Pitch goes back to Rawls, and he can't get away from that defensive end out there. Yes, he can. A remarkable run by Rawls. He stepped out of bounds, but I don't know how he got out of the grasp of Baker over there.
Well, yeah, Baker gets him and puts him in an airplane propeller, just swings him around a couple times, and he came out of there like he came out of a slingshot. And I don't know how in the world he did get away from him, but he didn't lose. He only gained maybe a half yard there, but it looked like he was going to be a big loser.
So the Seminoles, let's see, maybe a yard on the play. A lot of effort by here.
Watch this. They grab him right over here and see him. He puts him in that old airplane propeller, and somehow Rawls just stays on his feet. I don't know how, and gets him another yard or so.
A lot of work for a yard. Second down and 9. And they're trying straight ahead. And let's see if that's Jackson back in the game. He had to leave earlier. It is Jackson, and he got nowhere. Maybe lost a yard on the play. Getting the penetration down there was great big Jack Owsley, the 274-pounder. Got some good penetration, stopped him cold. It'll be third down and 9.
Well, on the last drive, Jim, Southeast made a key first down on 3rd and long. Let's see if they can do it here, and they did it that time by, as I recall, by coming out to Rawls, and Rawls got the call and made the first down. So we'll see if this is really this is starting to be critical because they don't want to give Riverview good field position again.
So Southeast with 3rd and 9, deep in their own territory. See if Reeves can pull another one out of his hat. He's going to throw it, and he does. He's got a man wide open out across the 30, and that's Curry. And I'll tell you what, that look, it was on the other side though, Charlie. Curry came from the left on that last 3rd and 10. Comes from the right. This is a tough
Reeves, I mean, you can't ask for any better than this. And look at the stuff he puts on that ball. That thing has some quickness on it, and just throws a fastball out there to Curry, and Curry gets the first down. That's a good-looking play as you'll see anywhere.
That's a tough timing pattern, and Reeves on 3rd and 10, just like he was out in the backyard playing catch. Big play for Southeast. They keep the drive alive at their own 32. And I'll tell you what, Charlie, there's a long way to go in this one, but a come from behind victory for Southeast would be really something for them to talk about. And I must have jinxed him because Reeves tries to run the option and Smith is all over him. Loss of about 3 or 4.
Yeah, we may have another false start here too. There's a flag on this play, Jim, and we'll see who it's against. But Southeast has been getting the majority of these calls against them.
On the offense.
Like a back in motion. I think maybe they sent Anthony Rawls in motion too early that time, and
decline.
They'll go ahead and take that 4-yard loss, so it'll be 2nd down and 14. But I'll tell you what, as I mentioned, coming from behind against the #1 team in 5A, if indeed they could, would be something that they could talk about at Southeast, for quite a while. 2nd down, 15, 8:32 remains in the 4th quarter. And Reeves gets a pass off, and it's caught, going up to make the catch. And I believe that's Warwick, the backup quarterback, makes that catch. And Watson was right there with him. Warwick just took it away from him. First down, up at the 45. Look at here, we take another look.
Warwick just jumps up and takes it away. I mean, Reeves throws that thing right in the middle with 3 Riverview jerseys around. Warwick just reaches up and takes it away. I was expecting to see a flag on that play because it looked like movement over there, but when Southeast snapped the ball, but I guess either there was no movement or they got away with one. But just another good play by Southeast, and this time they're in business again. They got the ball at their own 45-yard line. Southeast has looked impressive on this drive. Remember, Jim, this thing started way in their own territory. I mean, they started in a hole here. We were worried about that they were going to have to punt that ball from the end zone, and of course, Riverview would have that good field position, and we know what Riverview can do. If you give them good field position, they'll march it in on you.
And they started from their own 12, as Charlie mentioned, deep in their own territory. That was one of those water timeouts that you'll see at least once a quarter in every game in high school football.
Yeah, those were announcers.
You could use one up here. 1st and 10. And here comes Anthony Rawls. He got a great block, but he fell down. And I'll tell you what, the lead back out there, I believe it was Jackson, really powdered that linebacker out there. But Rawls fell down.
Anthony Rawls was just about to gain about 6 yards right there.
And that part of the field, you know, we've had all this rain for the last few weeks here, and watch it. Rawls just right on his own, just loses his footing right in the middle of the field. It's a little slippery there. The grass is worn. He just takes a spill.
And you saw that block by Jackson. He really blasted number 4, John Haskins. They'll lose 5, second down and 15. Southeast doing it the hard way, having to do things on third down. Reeves with a pitch, look out. Rawls picks it up, and it's going to be a huge loss. He can't work any magic against about 6 defenders there. So Southeast, just when it looks like they're going on that go-ahead drive, ill-advised pitch there, and Rawls can't handle it. A big loss. We'll take another look.
Well, they've had some trouble with this pitch tonight, and that's not the first time that Rawls and Reeves have not connected. But Rawls, as you stated a little bit earlier, he's performed a little magic and gotten them out of trouble a couple of times. But that time there was just too many Riverview jerseys around him, so they're in a bad hole this time, and got a long way to go on third down.
Third down and 20 now. Now let's see if, speaking of magic, if Reeves can come up with that 3rd and 20 completion. He's had a couple on 3rd and 10 and 3rd and 12 here this half to keep drives alive. This one he's going to have to go a little deeper. He's dropping back and he has good protection. Throws the pass. He had a man there. It would have been short of the first down, but Curry should have made that catch. He can't come up with it. Like we say, it would have been short of the first down, but now Southeast will have to punt the football, and Curry upset with himself.
Well, Talmadge Curry is upset with himself right here because Reeves threw it a good pass, just a little out in front of him, but a good pass, a catchable one by any terms. And I don't know that he would have gotten the first down, but it was good. It was good yardage for them. Now they got to punt the ball away.
And interestingly, Charlie, we finally see Campbell back in the game. Anthony Campbell, who went out with an ankle injury in the first half, has not been returning punts. He's back there now. And Boyd gets off a good one. Campbell's going to let it go. And look, I'll tell you what, he is still hurt. That was just a decoy. He's limping right back off the field from where he came. I don't think Campbell had any intention of fielding that punt. Maybe just throw a little scare into Southeast. But he was out there.
That old Foxy.
He walked right away from him.
Foxy's Coach Sprague. He sticks him out there so they'll worry about him. And don't kick it to Campbell. He gets a hold of that thing. They know what Southeast knows what he can do with it, but
give Paul Meckley some worry lines over there.
And Boyd got off a good kick this time. That's his best punt of the night, I do believe, and it shows what you can do when you don't have all that pressure on you. You got, he's been kicking from that end zone. He's been worried they're going to block him and get a safety in the end zone. This time he kicks it out of there pretty good and gets a good roll too.
And it was a nice-looking punt. Riverview backed up to their own 23-yard line, but now with timeout on the field, time does become a factor if Riverview, and of course they have that powerful running game, if they can grind out a couple of first downs, it's going to start getting tough for Southeast. We have 6:36 left to go in the fourth quarter. Riverview on top 18-13. They've missed all 3 of their extra points after their 3 touchdowns. As we look at some of the assistant coaches and we look at Haskins, who's played a good game out there. He's gotten hurt a couple of times to come out of there. He's got that ice on the back of the neck. Must have taken a good shot to the head.
6 minutes. Come on.
Well, Southeast has caused some turnovers of their own down in here in Riverview territory tonight, and this was certainly would be a big one if they could force another one here.
Running out of the wishbone now, and that's Chisholm, the second man through. He's only going to get a couple of yards, but of course now the clock becomes a factor. If Southeast can force a punt here, they'll still have plenty of time, but it's if they get 1, 2, 3 first downs. As we look at a new look here on the Ram bench at Mohawk look. A couple of the linemen there. That's number 51, Dale Bryson.
Big Bubba back in again.
Mays is back in there. He's worked out his cramp and no longer in the wishbone. And here comes Bubba Mays. And Leslie Dennis has no fear. He stuck his helmet and all 162 pounds into that midsection and somehow brought him down.
I mean, it's like tackling a truck. Here this guy comes through there. He weighs 285 pounds. The guy trying to tackle him weighs about 175, if that much. And so you really need some help when a big guy like that comes at you. And that's what Southeast's been doing the last couple of times, though. They've been helping and keying in on Bubba May. But here's a place where this Alexander is really dangerous. And Southeast really needs to be alert right here. He can be dangerous.
3rd and 5, and let's see, Alexander will make the pitch. Here comes Caston, and he made a second effort, and I believe he got the first down. He was hit back there by Robich, and he kept going forward, and he might have picked up that first down. It looked like he might get hit right at the line of scrimmage. Leaned forward, and whether or not he did get the first down, what an effort by Caston. It is a first down, and that one hurts the Seminoles. Unable to bring them down in the backfield. The Seminoles had the option defense very well. Forced Alexander to pitch. Caston got the ball, but to the second and third effort, he picked it up.
Well, Robic, as you can see, when Robic comes in and makes a tackle, it looks like he's got him, but he just stays up, doesn't let a knee touch. And a great individual effort by Caston there as he takes it for an additional couple of yards to get the first down. And that's what Riverview needed. They're measuring, but I'm sure he got it.
It looked like it. And they'd already signaled, but evidently they thought about it again. Yes, it is a first down. So 5:17 remaining. And Riverview now can control their own destiny if they keep on eating up the clock and picking up first downs. Southeast must stop them here, force some kind of a turnover or make them punt at least. Caston with the big play there. Running out of the wishbone. With Chisholm, Caston, and of course Big Bubba Mays. And here comes Caston. That time he's hammered. He might lose a yard. Smothered. Firing through there is Robic. Finding the gap and grabbing Caston.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, that's quite a hit by Robic. I don't know if that comes back up, but Robic comes through, and he lays one on Caston. I was surprised he got up. That was really a lick he took there.
No gain on the play, second down and 10, and of course Riverview in no hurry to get out of that huddle. Less than 5 minutes to go, fourth quarter. This one's going right down to the end, just like we thought it would. Staying in that wishbone, you look at Alexander, another poised young man, as a quarterback. Had a couple of them out here tonight. And there's Bubba Mays, not much doing there. He gets about 2 or 3. Frost riding him there, along with Charlie Higdon, number 71. So it'll bring up third down. Just give him about 3 on the play. 3rd and 7.
Last couple of times, Jim, Southeast has brought that entire defense right up to the line of scrimmage. I mean, they got Charlie Brown and Leslie Dennis. They got their corners, their safeties, their linebackers. They leave Robic and Frost kind of back in the middle, but they crowded all of that defense right up, and they're playing the run. So if Riverview calls a pass here, it could be trouble.
Alexander's going to keep it, and look out. Oh, he gets hammered, and got some good yardage. I think he was stopped short of the first down. He started to pick up some steam there, and somebody just nailed him. Let's take a look at it on the replay.
Well, whoever goes across, it looked like maybe Robic again, or maybe even Frost, but they clothesline Alexander. It's Frost, I think.
Yeah, Frost.
Clotheslines him right there and stops him short of the first down. They got 4th and 1. It looks like they kept Alexander.
They're going to go for it, unless they're just trying to draw him off sides. I'll tell you what, you don't get it here and give Southeast the ball here, you have a lot of questions to answer.
Well, look for Big Bubba.
4th down and a yard, and now Riverview takes the timeout on Tim Alexander. I don't blame him.
That was
4th and 1.
I think that was a no play. They had no intention of snapping that ball. They just wanted to see if they could make Southeast move real fast. But they're going to take a timeout. It still looks like that they're leaving in their offensive personnel. Looks like they're going for it at 4th and 1. And I don't know about you, but I got to call Big Bubba here. You know, I mean, what else you got to do?
Or punt it at 4th and 1. It's just tough. If you don't get that yard and Southeast gets the ball right there, you got an awful lot of questions to answer. It's a tough call, and yet you hate to give up the ball. You like to think you can get a yard. It's just a real tough situation for a coach to be in with a less than a touchdown lead and 4th and 1. You're trying to run out the clock, and this is when the job is tough right here. You see John Sprague talking to his offense.
Of course, if they draw you in again and make you think Big Bubba's going to carry it, and Tim Alexander keeps it on one of those quick openers, you got another 6 points on the board because there's nobody left back in the back. There are none of those. All those safeties are crunched right up. Southeast has that defense just centered right at. This is almost like a goal line stance what they're playing here now. And
John Sprague has talked to his offense. He's still got his regular offense on the field. Evidently going to go for it on 4th and 1. Here they go. It's Bubba Mays. I don't think he got it. No way.
They stopped Big Bubba.
And that was Frost down there at the bottom. Nelson got in there. And let's see where they mark it. Unless they get a very generous mark, there's no way he got the first down. Now, wait a minute. Let's see here. the Riverview offense doesn't think they have. They started running off the field. They are going to measure.
Well, he got a pretty generous spot.
Oh, he did.
But looking at it on the second look here, and that spot is, I don't know, it's kind of up in the air now.
Let's take a look. No, sir. They measured just for safety's sake. And Southeast, now, that's where you open yourself up, Charlie. You like to think you can get a yard. Let's take a look at it.
Well, Big Bubba, who is the likely one to carry the ball here, but you, like I said, you're running against a goal line stance for all practical purposes here, and all the linebackers are up there. Look at all the white jerseys in on that tackle. You got everybody involved.
So now Southeast with great field position. 3 minutes to go. Here comes the pitch back to Rawls. He gets a block. He's got some good yardage. Here comes Rawls. He's driven out of bounds at the 25. He'll get a first down. This is one of those coaches' nightmares, Charlie. People will ask John Sprague, regardless of this outcome, if you had it to do over, would you punt it and make them have to go further? It's what makes coaching tough. Let's take a look at Rawls.
Well, Anthony Rawls has been doing this all night. You give him a little break outside, block a couple times for him, and he'll carry the ball real well for you. And that's just another great run by Anthony Rawls.
First and 10 at the 26 for Southeast. Remember, they only trail by 5. Andrew Jackson inside gets about 6. He's down to the 19. Making the stop is Nutter. He recovered a fumble earlier in this half. But Southeast looks like what, like you mentioned, in essence, a goal line stand is giving him new life here.
That's right. Andrew Jackson just kind of bowls up the middle. And the play before that, Talmadge Curry made a spectacular block out there for Anthony Rawls. He's pounding him up, patting him on the back when they came back to the huddle, and I can understand why.
Pitch comes back to Rawls. He gets another great block from Jackson. He's inside the 15. Another first down, first and goal. And time really no factor here. They have the ball at the 9-yard line, 2:19 left. It's down to 4 downs now. Forget about the clock if you're Southeast. As a matter of fact, if you're Southeast, you probably don't want to score too quickly and give Riverview another chance. Here comes Rawls.
Anthony Rawls has been the man that has been doing it all night. He does it again right here. And I'll tell you, and this is, I don't want to cast any problems for them here in any way, but they really need to make this pitch out. If they're going to make it, they need to make it with precision here. It's been troubling them all night, Jim.
First down, just inside the 10. Here comes Rawls. He's trying to get outside and can't quite do it. An official gets knocked down, and that's Chris Smith on the stop. Rawls, they had too good of an angle on him. He usually has the speed to get outside, but Smith got the angle.
The official threw a heck of a block there before he was knocked down. Now, what they can set up here, I don't know if they'll do it or not, but you set this thing up, Rawls, with that play right there, they might come back with big Andrew Jackson right up the middle, and there may be something open there for him, but they've got him set up real good with stringing them out here.
First, actually, it's second down. We'll call it goal to goal from the 10. And they fake it. Here comes Reeves. He's going to roll. He's going to throw. He's got a man. Fumble. Southeast gets it back. Unbelievable. I believe.
Yes,
Southeast got it back. And let's see, the receiver was Robich, I believe, out of the backfield, who made the catch, fumbled, and then had the presence of mind to get it back. And Paul Meckley wisely calls the timeout, if nothing else, to get everyone's heart back to normal. Take a look at this play.
Well, here's you see Reeves. He marches over to his right, throws this ball to is it Robich? Yes, it is.
Robich.
And Robich takes it and has it stripped away from him. Ooh, it almost looked like it wasn't a catch, but he gets back there and gets it. It almost like he didn't catch it. They stripped it from him before he had a completed pass. But Southeast not only maintains possession, they do get pretty good yardage out of it. They're down to about the 4-yard line now, Jim. We got 2 plays to carry it in.
And Paul Meckley out there talking to Southeast. Once again, you may as well forget the clock. If you're a Southeast Seminole, what you've got now are 2 downs, period. Forget about the clock. The ball is resting, let's see, they're going to say the 4-yard line. And Robich with the catch, and then he had the presence of mind to get back on it after he fumbled it. Unbelievable. At the 4-yard line, 3rd down and goal. 1:23 remaining. Remember, Southeast trails 18-13. They don't even have to worry about an extra point. They just have to score 6.
Anthony Rawls 2 times, I believe.
And he's got it once anyway. He turns it up, and second effort. He can't quite pound it in there. A great tackle there. John Haskins met him head up. Number 4, and Haskins gets up a little woozy. That was helmet-to-helmet football there. Look at Rawls.
Well, Anthony Rawls is, like I said, he's been the money man tonight. He almost gets it in there, but looks like, you know, if he comes out a little bit wider, he scores. We'll see. I tell you, they're on the 2-yard line.
4th down and goal.
4th down and goal. This is the game right here, and I'd be very surprised if Anthony Rawls doesn't get the call again, or John Reed's keeping it. But I think you got to go with Anthony Rawls. Jim, they're nearer to this side. It looks like they could stretch it out a little bit more to the right, so they might run him right because he has more room to stretch the defense. If they can pick up a block or two on the right side and let Anthony Rawls carry it on in. But boy, what a football game! And this is very exciting, and this is the play of the game right here.
All comes down to this: 4th down and goal. 18-13, Riverview on top. Southeast trying to change that with 4th and goal from the 2. Here comes the pitch. It's Rawls. He's got room. He needs a block from Jackson.
Yeah, he's in there. Yeah.
Rawls scores. And look at that southeast side of the field. Well, you can't say that yet. There is 1:02 left, and Riverview has all kinds of horses. 1:02 left. Southeast on top now, 19-18.
Well, Anthony Rawls is just fabulous. He deserves to get the score here. He's carried him all night. He gets a great block from Andrew Jackson right there and takes it right on in. You know, I hope Southeast goes for 2 here because, you know, that will at least give them a chance to prevent Riverview from going ahead on the field goal. Looks like they are going to go for 2. They have no reason not to because Riverview can come back on them. There is plenty of time, like you mentioned.
19-18, Southeast going for 2. Reeves is rolling right. He's going to throw it. He's got a man out there. Knocked down. Good defense by Brown.
Great defense.
And when you look at that, Charlie, you got to be glad that wasn't the call for Southeast on that 4th down, or Brown makes that play.
Robert Brown made a spectacular defensive play there to keep Southeast from scoring, converting 2. I mean, that was major league right there. Robert Brown jumps up, stays off the back of the receiver, and hits the ball and knocks it out. So we got a minute now, Jim, and 2 seconds for Riverview with this big offensive team to come back. I said it before the night's over. I'll have to say it again because no matter what the outcome of this game is, I think it's a different game without Shawn Bane in there.
Certainly, of course, Shawn Bane with the disciplinary problems, not playing tonight. But look, and we take a look at the failed 2-point attempt.
Great play by Brown.
Brown knocking it away. But I'll tell you what, you've got 1:02 left. And, of course, Riverview, their field goal kicker, just looking down the line, is Chris Hackett. He's a good one. He's a senior. And now Southeast has to play some defense. They have that 1-point lead, and this is the kind of crazy game that you never know. Riverview has shown they can score with lightning speed just as well. And remember, this was set up when Riverview elected to go for it on 4th and 1 at their own 41-yard line. They did not make it, so Southeast got the good field position and gave the ball to Rawls, who eventually got it into the end zone.
I don't see Anthony Campbell's not in the game, is he? So I guess
don't believe so. Here, got Brown back to it. Boyd kicks it kind of high and short. And it will... He's got to pick that up. That's a live ball. He was hoping to go out of bounds. Here comes Brown. And he'll be wrapped up at about the 23, so good coverage on the kick. And Brown, I think, was hoping that thing would go out of bounds. They'd get it up to 35, but that's a live ball back there. That's as good as a long onside kick. Look at him.
Yeah, he just goes back here and stalls.
He's got to pick it up.
Brown has to pick it up, and then he does a pretty good job getting it back in good field position. Now, you know, as Riverview takes this thing, this Southeast, we told you how aggressive their defense is, and what they need to do, Southeast, they don't need to hurt themselves right here by playing over aggressively, picking up penalties that allows Riverview to get in good field position.
58 seconds. Here comes Tim Alexander. He's going to tuck it under his arm. He's going to fumble the football, but Brown, I do believe, recovered for Riverview. That could have ended it right there. He got stripped of the football, and it'll be about a 7-yard game. But now Riverview can't wait around. Clock running, 40 seconds. They either have to call a timeout or get a playoff. Valuable seconds clicking off the clock here. We're approaching the half-minute mark. That cost them about 10 or 12 seconds. Alexander rolling left. He's going to unload it deep. It's overthrown. Brown and double covered back there. Rawls is also playing defense. No, excuse me, that's Nelson back there.
I think Rawls is back there too, isn't he?
I think I saw him back there. We'll check. There's Dennis. We'll check on that. They got everybody with any kind of speed back there. 20 seconds remain. 3rd down and 2 for the Riverview Rams.
I think you're right, Jim. Nelson is back there playing strong safety, and with the 3rd and 2, I think that they're going to really play that safety back. Jerry Nelson, the free safety, I think they're going to play him back deep and leave him there.
3rd and 2. Alexander rolling left. He's going to tuck it under his arm. He's going to try and change fields. He's going to be sacked. And the Southeast defense rising to the occasion. 9-8. This could be it. Riverview obviously out of timeouts. 3, 2, 1. Forget it. It's all over. Look at that Southeast side of the field going nuts. What a win for the Seminoles. As you see the coaching staff and players, and boy, this is when you got to celebrate. Look at John Sprague and Paul Meckley. Good camera work for our boys in the crew. Talking that one over. Catching Meckley and Sprague having quite a conversation out there. But I wish we could eavesdrop on that one. That would be interesting. But I'll tell you what, John Sprague has nothing to be ashamed of. I'll tell you what, Charlie, this is my 8th season calling these games here for Paragon, and I've seen some great football. The 1987 Manatee Lakeland triple overtime game comes to mind. These two teams last year, there's been some great ones, but I don't know if I can put any above this 19-18 win here, Southeast and Riverview. 2 great football.
Well, it's been a fun game to do, Jim. I'll tell you something. My hat goes off to John Reeves and to Anthony Rawls. They've done a super job. That offensive line for Southeast, the Riverview line has been billed all week long, but Southeast did a great job in providing some good blocking for Anthony Rawls, especially on the ends. It was nice to see Omar Edwards back in there having a good game. It's just this is a fun one to do. I'm gonna tell you something. I would have paid Paragon to let me do this one tonight. I've enjoyed it that much.
I'll tell you what, you might want to keep in mind at home, 748-3816 for a copy of this one. I know if you're a Southeast fan or a Riverview Rams fan, this is what you want to hang on to. Once again, our final score with the Anthony Rawls touchdown, 19-18. Southeast comes from behind to beat Sarasota Riverview. I'm Jim Brockman for Charlie Wells. Have a very pleasant good evening.